All right.
Yeah. Oh my, that's awesome.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of the BrolyCast. And I am joined by a legendary combo maker and a legend in the Devil May Cry community, Kyo. I am so happy to have you here. Welcome to the podcast. By all means, Zen, how are you doing today?
Oh my god. Well, first of all, good afternoon. So for me, it's evening, but good afternoon, everyone. And I'm doing well. So like you made me like the red carpet. Like oh my god. But that's exciting. Well, doing fine, and I'm just hyped as fuck. Like I've been holding back doing all of this analysis. So of course I said one thing or two, because it's really tough to hold back from the hype, and let's just do this because we have like hours of talk, and fucking it's in fucking 3 days, so
Yes, sir. Yeah, we are literally days away. Well, some of us. I myself, I'm waiting for the PC DLC, so that'll be one more month. But there's gonna be ton of more content coming on the way. I'm sure there's gonna be people getting their hands on Vergil probably within the next couple of days. So we're already gonna start to see some madness. Capcom, to their credit, has shown us basically everything in the stream the other day. They more or less went through his entire kit. And yeah, extremely exciting stuff, man. So I cannot wait to dive into this. And I already can see a couple folks in the chat. Just to give a heads up to everyone, what I've done is if you're a regular on my streams, I normally have a command list to enable like different voice overs and animations and things like that. That has actually been disabled because I don't want it kind of interfering the conversation. And I've also disabled notifications. So if you do a follow or any kind of notifications like that on Twitch, those are disabled as well. Because again, I just don't want, essentially anything interfering with us.
do they still show up in text? Or?
Yes. Yep. It'll still show up, so we can shout out stuff at the end of the day. Oh, Spotify. So Kyo, what I'd like to do before we actually dive into the meat and potatoes, can you give us, especially for members of my stream who may not be as familiar with you, or anyone tuning in who may not be as familiar with you, tell me a little bit about yourself. You know, how'd you get into Devil May Cry? Tell us a little bit about your background.
Oh, well, sure. So, well, I'm 26, so I'm with old. Not as you, of course, but still a bit. We're going to go into it later. So I actually started DMC by DMC2, and it was in 2004, I believe. And it was actually my big sister who bought for me the game for my 10th birthday. And I just clicked. Because for back in the days, DMC2 was actually a very good game. Like, not as good as the original DMC, but still a very good game. And then I went up to DMC3, then I did DMC1, and then DMC4. So that's quite a bit of a weird. I knew what happened in the games, but my chronological order of playing the game was a bit messy.
Mm-hmm.
And what got me actually into combo making, I actually waited very, very, very long because I was a fan, but I was never into digging into gameplay. And I think that was already by the end of the PS3 era with the release of DMC HD collection. And then I stumbled upon like a lot of people. It was a DMC3 combo mat and from Kyle. So with the Camelot music and stuff, I love Camelot too. So I digged into it, and I was like, "God damn, that was cool." But how the hell does it do this? And I figured that was something abnormal going on, and I just couldn't see what happened. And so I dig, and I found out what was Jump Console, and I was like, "Damn, I want to do this. I want to train." So I was booting. I was watching the game, I was looking at tutorials, and that was, let me see, so, when was the release date of DMC HD Collection on PS3? Actually, I know that was a bit after the reboot.
Yeah, I want to say somewhere in it was like 2010 to 2014. I'd want to say somewhere in there.
14, I'd say, because the reboot was 13. Yeah, so let's get, well, anyway, that's around...
Oh, 2012, ironically.
Oh my god. Oh no, yeah, so actually it was actually before the reboot, yeah. I started training and looked up tutorials. So I didn't stumble upon DMC4 because I was focused on DMC3 at the time. And then I saw your tutorials actually. And it was, oh my god, it was already 6 years ago, so I was already 20. And I just trained, and then when DMC5, 4, you see, 4 Special Edition got announced, I was like, okay, I want to do what these guys do, and if I'm as good as them someday, that would be great. But so let's go into this. So I bought a PS4 and DMC4 Special Edition just for Vergil, because I was, oh my god.
Yep.
I want to play Vergil. And that's how I started, actually. So at first, I was just digging the character. I was learning the basics too, because DMC4 was quite different in terms of job cancelling and stuff. I was already remapping my buttons on the controller.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went, I did some stuff. I was like, okay, I'm satisfied. Okay, I'm getting a bit better. And one day I just stopped. And then I came back and was like, what if I did better? What if I just wanted to do better, like more, because I wanted to start with Vergil, offer something new, because by then, with the original DMC4, everyone did pretty much everything with Dante and Nero, so I just didn't want to be just another one. Even we are talking about big guys being another ones.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to be the Vergil guy, so I trained, and then I started. At first, I was really poor, so you can find probably on my YouTube channel like early videos and embarrassing one in terms of quality of gameplay. And then I started calling one combo mad, and that went progressively, and here we are. I had a PC along the way, so that helped improving training.
That's cool. Yeah, so it's kind of like DMC4 Special Edition was really the catalyst. You were already kind of playing, you knew some of the more technical stuff, but it was really like DMC4 and specifically like Vergil that pushed you.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. It was just all about Vergil, and I actually started playing Dante maybe around a year after I really was comfortable with Vergil.
See, that's interesting because that's kind of like what happened with me. DMC3 Dante, back in the day, or DMC3 in general, was really overwhelming for me at first, but it was through really like learning and mastering Vergil that Dante's entire gameplay and really the rest of the game sort of unlocked. So it's like I learned how to play the game by learning Vergil first.
Yeah, and yet, I mean, the DMC3 was really different because Vergil was kind of fast but slow character in his technical approach.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really different. And DMC4, it goes like full speed.
He's fast. He's fast in DMC4. It's crazy.
He was gonna go fast. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty funny. We had actually the same way of actually training to high level stuff through Vergil.
I know. Hey, well, he's the gateway drug, and the drug, of course, being Devil May Cry. Right, so it starts off with Vergil and it just escalates from there.
It's just incredible how much people prefer playing Vergil over Dante.
But I mean, it's understandable. I mean, well, for one, he's the bad guy. He's the antagonist, right?
Edgy boy.
So there's that aspect of it. Oh, I thought my notifications were. I can. Oh, I guess I can still hear them. I'm not sure if that actually came through on the chat or not.
No, I didn't.
Okay, cool. What was I saying? Well, because one, he's kind of like the bad boy, right? So there's that aspect of it, but there's also like, man, he's so cool. Might have heard it from your mic. I think it actually did come through. So even though the notifications are, I wonder if I can mute them somehow because they shouldn't even be coming up. But okay, in any case, it's okay.
I actually didn't hear anything.
Oh, I think it's probably. I'm not sure if you have the stream turned on as well because you and I are just on the Discord call.
I muted the sound indeed because.
Yeah, you don't want to hear me twice, right?
Me neither.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so there's that. But also, like, there's something about Vergil, like the fact that he's got like the samurai sword, the quick draw technique, like the eye jitsu, I think it's called. Like, there's something about that he's so anime. He's so freaking cool. And me myself, like, blue is my favorite color. So this guy's walking around. He's got the blue jacket on. You know, he just looks absolutely sick.
Man, do you remember the first combat scene we saw? Well, in cutscene we saw Vergil in the free special edition when you build up his so many against so many abysses, and this is the first time you saw him drawing the sword, and from the blood he has the air that he bring back. Okay, I can't do it because, well, as you can see, not much time to do it. But his hair going down from the blood. It was so fucking badass.
Yeah, and he just like he does like this whole like I swear for like when I was playing DMC3, that's how I used to gel my hair back in the day. You know, you just grab like this wad of gel and you're just like, ah, you know, you just have this badass moment, like, oh, so good. Sick character.
How much years passed by? Like,
yeah, like he's such a badass, man. So it makes sense that he is as much of a fan favorite as he is, you know?
So many people spamming officials just to get him over.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, it's funny because you see that in other communities too. Like one of the communities I follow is Mortal Kombat, and it's like anytime someone from the dev team like posts something or tweets something on Twitter, you just have these monsters, these Twitter fiends just be like, when's this character? When's that character? Right? So
oh really?
Yeah, I think it's well the guy Harada, I think, who's the I think he's the project lead on Tekken. He made a joke out of it because he literally showed up to one of the like a big fighting game convention, and he had this shirt on that said "Don't ask me for shit." And it was literally making fun of the fact that fans were just harassing him, you know, asking for, you know, X character, Y character, whatever. Like,
yeah, I feel like it's also a case for Sakura in Smash.
Yep.
But probably in the most parodic version of it.
Exactly. But in any case, so everyone, thanks for tuning in. And thank you, Kyo. Hopefully I didn't interrupt your kind of your backstory there, but yeah, it's really cool how things sort of like escalated. You started to really pick up. What game did you actually make your first combo video for? Was it DMC4?
Yeah, it was DMC4 actually.
Very cool.
And it barely had any juggle, like it was poor pace. And because at first it's not as clear as when you pick out the character first in DMC3, but there are so many moves at once in DMC4, even without the upgrades. You just pick up Vergil and you're like, oh my god, I'm just lost because he has so many moves compared to the previous version. It was actually complicated. So the first videos was sort of a diary of my progression. And I didn't set my ambition to anything back then. Well, ambition is a bit of a big word, but I knew I wanted to be like one of these combo mad guys, and back then I would never dare to call my videos combo mad. And so yeah, I set my sight on being as good as these people, and I wanted to have Vergil because I already knew back then what were Vergil's problems in DMC4 compared to 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to do my best in making the most of the character. And it took some time, it took some years, but I believe I I came to a nice result, and of course, as well as over really excellent Vergil players, that I'm satisfied of my own work so far, and sometimes I see a bit of my passions on over combos as well, because well, inspiring is a thing in DMC combo players, so it's not like I take ownership of anything, but it's always nice to see that you did something and some people try to do it at their own way. That feels very good, actually.
Well, I always felt like I noticed. Well, I'm very much like out of the meta of combo making, but I remember back in the DMC3 days, it was like every video that came out was trying to push it to a higher level. So someone would do something and it'd be like, oh, okay, like I see, that this person did that. Can we go above and beyond? Can we enhance this? Can we improve it?
Apparently people don't hear me as well. Maybe that's just because I go a bit back and forth. So maybe trying to crank my make sound a bit up.
I can boost you on my end. On Discord. Discord's tricky because I'm not sure when we're actually in a call how I can boost you. But let me check. Let me see if there's a way.
Maybe on OBS, because right now I'm at max. I'm going to try.
Well, what I can do is I can change my my output volume, which I think will impact the call as well. Can you try speaking now?
Yeah, that's it. Maybe because it's also my own stuff, because I'm using voice meter, so maybe it's just nerves it a bit.
Well, now your voice is actually cracking, because I think it's because your mic settings are so high.
I don't know. I didn't touch anything.
Oh, that's weird. So that's probably on my end then. It's probably because of the output volume. Let's see. It's funny. Every time I do one of these streams, there's always something. And it's funny. I can hear you fine, but let me see.
Wolf says right-click his name and see if at 200%.
Oh, here. There we go. Nice. I didn't know you could actually do this. All right, let's try it now.
Okay. Test. Is it any better?
Yes. Your voice is still cracking though, and I don't know why.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to change something, and it will probably be not as good. Oh yeah, so this was on. Yeah, I don't need to on the alternate camera stuff, but I will just go back to this.
Oh wow, yeah, you're coming through so much clearer now.
Okay, well, voice meter is shit confirmed. Okay, well, we'll still abide to it. Maybe the voice is a bit less in quality, but whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So now that he's switched over and made that adjustment, chat, is he sounding okay now? I'll actually adjust one more thing.
Several says sounds good, and I will try also to lower down. Yeah, I will just, because I have detection stuff, so maybe I put it in a list. Maybe also rising the noise.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds like people are satisfied. So perfect.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thanks, chat. Thanks for looking out.
Thanks, chat. Show champ.
Much appreciated. All right. Okay. So very cool, man. Yeah. So it's always about like with combo videos, it's always about this evolving meta, it's like every successive combo video, or, it's in every new video, someone's trying to like take something that someone else did and either put their own flair on it or like adapt it or combine it with another idea. Like it's always about like these different ideas and techniques. And it's like, okay.
Absolutely. And I had this thing myself. It was actually on Sakaki. So for those who don't know, he's got tier in DMC4 combo making with every character. And I mean it. And I remember when he released his first or second DMC4 video with Vergil combos. And it was like, oh my god. He kicked my ass. Like, okay, he didn't actually kick my ass because it's not a fighting versus fighting game, but I felt challenged because I was satisfied of what I was doing, and this actually gave me a higher boost from that point, and this is how I graded twice compared to before. And I was still on PS4. I switched on PC. It was end of end of the same year as DMC5 Special Edition, 4 Special Edition. Oh my god, still making the split. And yeah, that Sakaki really gave me the push needed to go harder.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, I wouldn't say maybe people, not necessarily with me, but I'm sure a lot of people feel that way, sort of challenged in a positive way, not in a toxic way, but in a positive way, when they see someone doing better than you. And you're just like, okay, let's have an headcanon and make it my rival, and I will try to do better.
Absolutely. Well, that's what's so amazing about it is like, you know, they raise the bar and then you see that and you're like, wow, like I see what that person did. And then, you know, you get motivated or you challenge yourself and it's like, let me see if I can get to that level or even beyond. Right. And then, you know, they might in turn or someone else might see what you've done and how you've raised the bar. And it's like, okay, let's go higher. And it just becomes this like endless evolution of the meta. It's really exciting.
Yeah, that was especially true for DMC4. 5, well, 5 is 5.
Yeah.
So far, of course, so far. This was even because I was really a part of a young guys in DMC4 Special Edition, so there were already people like Turtle Sensei, Taka, Sakaki, Blank, and a lot of awesome players. So I was really a part of these young guys, and even then there was still stuff to be done, and this thing was still happening, and even that was great for like 4 or 5 years. It's been more than 5 years now, and this thing is really great.
Yeah, no, I mean, you definitely had a really good group of guys, yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what happens with DMC5 Special Edition, to see the monsters, you know, what new monsters come up and what kind of new videos, and I think with that, I think that is a perfect time to segue into some DMC5 Vergil. Are you ready, Kyo?
Oh, hell yeah.
You were born ready.
Let's do this.
Yes. Okay, so what I've done here is I'm actually going to share my screen over Twitch. What I've done is I went through the Capcom stream that they did yesterday, and essentially compiled small little mini videos of like all the different moves of the different weapons. So starting with like Yamato, it's literally something I can just kind of have on repeat as it goes in the background. Hopefully it still has the Oh, what just happened? Oh, there we go. Perfect. It still has the Capcom logo on it because, you know, we're not trying to be fraudulent here. We're just using some of their examples, and we just want to kind of talk about it and dive a little bit more into some of the lore and like what's happening with this character.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm really excited from what they've shown us so far. You know, all the weapons look absolutely fantastic. Vergil's animations look awesome. And yeah, I mean, from the original teaser trailer that they showed us to like now seeing the full build of the character, it's like it went from like 5% motivated to like 1,000% motivated because of the kit.
There's the meme right there, like, you know, to 200% motivated. That's exactly this.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it just looks insane, man. And like, they've actually, in my opinion, they've gone above and beyond with Vergil, because, you know, they have done such an amazing job with like his animations, but like they didn't just take a carbon copy of DMC4 Vergil, they've actually gone and added new moves.
Yeah. And well, Yamato alone shows that Capcom did actually a good mix of not only DMC4, the reboot, but also DMC3 elements. So like as you can see in the clip showed right now is that not only Vergil retains the DMC4 system of judgment cards, so with a charge after a move, so right now, there's also the possibility for the player to chain.
Sorry, I was just double checking your volume.
Like DMC3.
Yes, yeah, and so I wanted to ask you about that because that was one thing that you had mentioned. Is that they kind of maintained, the just frame. Well, that's one thing I think is really cool is that they maintained the just frame where, if you do the just frame judgment cut, you don't move at all, which is pretty cool. And you also get a little bit of like an enhanced damage. Whereas if you don't do the just frame, that's when you actually get like the classic DMC3 animation where he's actually like taking a step back and then doing it.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's nice because you can actually do the both ways, and that's really awesome. It's really they just had to tweak, because I remember DMC4 you couldn't do that. It was just a matter of timings. They just didn't think of the timings of what if someone wants to do a just frame after a just frame, and they just thought about it.
Questioned in the chat here, actually, which could be a cool moment. So John Chin says that he was rewatching the double summon can kill. So I'm getting idle SDT charge can kill. I don't think so. Nothing that I've seen so far showed that the actual just SDT charge itself can kill.
Probably because they either killed before or after.
Oh, really?
They didn't. Yeah, because basically Vergil strikes so hard that you don't have an HP count, or at least a precise one. So people just do their things, and they didn't really go in mind, well, I should try to kill with this charge. So in my opinion, it was just because no one tried to do it intentionally.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, so that'll be really interesting to see then. And then Lance asked, or Werewolf, excuse me, asked whether Vergil's range with Yamato increases. To my knowledge, I wouldn't think so. But he was asking.
Doesn't seem like it.
It doesn't seem like it, right? And he's asking whether or not that was a thing in DMC4 SE, which I don't believe so, but I'm nowhere near qualified to answer that question given my experience with DMC4.
Yeah, 5 concentration gave Vergil's Yamato so much range, it was actually stupid.
Really?
You could use it, of course, for combo purposes, but Vergil could stand right now, like in one of his clips, he does 3 judgment cuts on the ground, and you could actually hit with an upper slash from that range.
What? I didn't know that. That's so OP, man.
That was how far you needed to be just to have a. Of course, not every hit had the same hitbox, but with upper slash, this was definitely the range of it.
That's nuts. Okay, but from what you've
for five. It looks like maybe a bit of range increase, but I'm not sure if that's just DMC5, how they treat hitboxes or just concentration. Maybe a bit of both actually, but I wouldn't say this is the definitive feature. I would go with likely added properties and damage output and effects, but that's it, not much more. Because in my opinion, they realized that this was one of DMC4's problem. The concentration wasn't just unfair. He had the power and the range at the same time.
Well, yeah, in many ways, like Vergil can one-shot bosses in DMC4, right? So I think that's probably the most overpowered version of Vergil we're likely ever to see. So I think he's, from what I've seen in DMC5 and what they've shown, he seems to be like a lot more balanced. His damage output is still ridiculous, which is what you'd expect for Vergil. Like, I think he's probably going to be easily the most powerful character in terms of just how hard he can hit by design. But I don't think it's going to be that game breaking.
It depends. I mean, like as the stream showed, you can actually just spam the judgment cuts to death. You have your concentration rise. Mm-hmm. That deals a fair amount of damage. Like,
yeah,
the footage was on Legendary that night, and it does strike hard. But then again, it's like pretty much everything. If you want to spam it, okay, go for it. But let's not make this a downside. You choose to do it, okay, good, but you can get punished, but your style rank wouldn't go along with it. And well, that's up to you if you want to do that, but this is probably limited thing to say if you want to say Vergil is overpowered just because you spam judgment cuts all day. It's like saying DMC is easy because you spam Stinger.
Yeah, I know exactly. At the end of the day, I mean, it all depends on as long as the style rank or the style meter behaves accordingly. Like, so if you can just spam one move and just get triple S, like, then that will be a little stupid, a little silly. But from what I've seen, I don't think that there's one thing that you can just spam. Like, there's obviously you can rack up the damage, but I don't think it's going to do you many favors in terms of
it's not rewarding.
Exactly. Yes, that's a perfect way to describe it. The one thing I do want to say, and again, this is what some of the things that Capcom has shown that really make me say, like, wow, like they've really gone above and beyond with Vergil here. And I think you, in our conversations, Keo, like preparing for this stream, we're both under more or less an agreement that this will likely be the best version of Vergil ever. And it's things like this Void Slash move, which just looks so freaking cool.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that you can actually, well, with Doppelganger, or maybe if you have prepared Summoned Sword, you can actually hit the enemy with this, and it stays in sort of slow motion until you do this. And you can actually do this move with Doppelganger too, so you can actually have Vergil do some stuff in the meantime.
Yes. And we'll get to it a little bit more when we actually talk about the doppelganger. But one of the really cool things that I've seen is that with the doppelganger, just like it was in DMC3, you can control how quickly or how slowly it lags. So you can basically make it on par with you, faster than you, or slower than you. So especially a combo monster like yourself, man, you know that there's so much potential there.
I never experimented Doppelganger, even in Reboot, because I actually disliked the mechanic, because my brain back then didn't like to process things that much. But I gained experience and stuff, and because Vergil is so much of a perfected version of 4, I can allocate my brain some brain space to actually think about Doppelganger. I watched also a lot of DMC, actually not say a lot, but I did watch some DMC Reboot combo videos, and there was some clever stuff with Doppelganger, because that's just such a good dev tool. And really, I just thought about some things to do. I have a couple of ideas, but of course, this is something I need to experiment more before I can tell, oh my god, what did I just do? So I already have a bit of this without Doppelganger, but I can't wait to experiment it in December, of course.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I know, man. You and me both, man. I'm so excited. And I remember in DMC3, I messed around with Doppelganger a little bit. But I remember at the time, there was a couple players, and the one that most jumps out in my mind was Brea. Brea did some insane shit with Doppelganger. Yes, the queen herself. Absolutely. Yeah. I think rightfully the queen of DMC. I think that's a very fair title. Well deserved.
I can think on another one, and There's a player that you probably know because it's DMC3 is Shni. I don't know how to pronounce it actually because maybe Shni it's a Dutch like name. He's a Japanese player who released some recent DMC3 videos. So it was maybe a year or two ago.
Oh snap!
And his level of creativity, and it was so insane. And I will give the links to you later on. That
Please,
this guy is
yeah.
absolutely insane. And I will just for curious chat. I will let me give his Twitter so I can link it in the chat.
Yeah, please.
So people can check it out.
That would be cool to see. And so while you're doing that, the one thing I'll say is, so I really like how they incorporated the boss judgment cut, the ultimate judgment cut, so to speak. I love how each one of the weapons has like this ultimate attack, and I think that was following in the footsteps of DMC4. Whereas like, you have to have like full concentration, and then you press like, lock on forward, and then I think it's like triangle circle if you're using default controls. It's basically attack and style.
Lock on, but that's true.
Oh, you didn't need lock on. Okay, well, it shows you how much I know.
I mean, that's a fair mistake.
No. Yeah, thank you for correcting me. One thing I really love is that they've made it so that these moves, you can either do it in SDT, or if you have full SDT and full concentration meter.
Yeah, but it hits the SDT bar, and that's a really bad thing that I like. That you can't just spam it. So they made Vergil able to use it without SDT. But first of all, you can be punished if you don't, if you do it at the wrong timing, because enemy can just knock you away. But it also takes away your SDT judge that you don't want necessarily that to happen. And I noticed something. I'm not sure if it was just because the move wasn't perfected, but when there was the TGS showcase, there wasn't actually this slow time. So maybe they just added that part later on. But what if you could do it on LB2? Well, I'm not sure. I'm pretty wrong because there was the skill list too, but maybe if you do it on LB2, you don't get the time stop and you get twice as hard punished.
Yeah, I'm not really sure like how it'll be balanced, but yes, it does require quite a number of resources, right? And so that's kind of how they balance it out, and kind of like Dante's SDT. If you use it in the wrong spot, their recovery might be quite high. So if you're fighting a boss, I can actually show you. If you're fighting a boss, essentially after he can move right away. You're basically I would think. So I'm just replaying the animation here. I would think, because essentially everything's stopped. Everything's frozen while he's resheathing the sword right before it explodes. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, as soon as the explosion hits, Matt Edwards was able to immediately cancel into Judgment Cut. So you're...
It did DMC4 too, actually, but it was much slower.
Yes, that's crazy. So your recovery is like instant. So it just costs a lot of resources.
Yeah, well, he activated the infinite modes too, so it's hard to tell. But it
that's
does
true.
Use up all of your SDT, and it's not necessarily easy to fill it up. Easier than Dante, but still not easy. And because
it's expensive.
SDT is your only actual way, aside from another move we were going to go into later. You don't necessarily want to sacrifice your healing power for one single judgment cut end, especially on difficulties like Dante Must Die.
Yep. Yeah, you'll definitely need to be mindful of the cost, and it's just something. Essentially, you have your SDT economy, right? So it's not something you can just kind of spam freely. You do have to be really mindful, and especially when you're doing S ranks, I could see it being like Dante. In the sense that, a lot of the missions, your success, especially in getting an S rank on Dante Must Die, is around how you manage the SDT economy.
True.
So I could see that being the same case. But in any case, I'm going to switch it over to Beowulf so that we can start looking through some of that. And oh my goodness, so
the effects of Beowulf, look at
gorgeous. Like his entire play style looks gorgeous, man. Like even when he moves, even when Vergil's doing like basic attacks, he almost has like an after image behind him.
Yeah, that's concentration effects actually.
Oh, that makes sense.
As much I don't necessarily dig how they handled these after image effects, because it's basically put chromatic aberration everywhere. I mean, just look at this Beowulf effect, just the light, how it goes out from the gauntlets. It's just, oh my goodness.
She looks sexy, man. I know, right? Just ultimate. No, you just failed. No Nut November right there. Just all day, every day.
I felt it ages ago as well. My girlfriend tries to trap me.
So you have some third party interference.
She's watching anyway, so I'm going to get roasted after that.
She's probably writing you a text right now. That's fantastic. But yeah, they've done, and so this is the thing. When they first showed Vergil, everyone was like, "Oh, you know, looks like a really weak effort for special edition." They're kind of like rushing it for the PS5, Xbox One release. You know, like they only showed one weapon. You know, it's like, what is this? But then. And then, of course, like, you know, random Japanese guy on some random program just playing. Here's a build of Vergil. There you go. Go nuts.
It's almost like they ain't like, I knew this was a bit of excusing a bit of a lack of money from the communication, but I'm pretty sure they did that intentionally just to go and ambush everyone, because everyone is so fucking entitled to ask for Vergil and stuff. And, like, you know, in TGS, the thing you could hear sooner that he was glad that people finally stopped to ask for Vergil. And I'm pretty sure they can just say, okay, we're going to give them a bit of their own medicine for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, they literally trolled. I tweeted this, like, it's like Capcom trolled us all. But you know what? Like, it's like seeing this build, because I've said some bad stuff about Capcom, and some of it is warranted, but man, seeing this, I'm just like,
a lot of people, yeah.
I'm like, Capcom, I forgive you, we're good, you guys are, thank you, praise, you know, like, because of what they've given us, right? Like, this is what we wanted Beowulf, we wanted Force Edge, you know, and it's like, and he just looks gorgeous, you know.
I
pumped.
think I've been one of the only ones to had this firm belief that we still were going to have them.
You had faith.
But at that point, it felt like, oh, look at this guy just eating Capcom ass, and you're like, yeah, but I'm right.
Yep. Yeah. Hey, your faith was rewarded, sir. Yeah, and
in more ways than one.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so I'm very excited, especially because I've probably played DMC4 Vergil for less than 5 hours, right? Like, even this morning, in preparation for this podcast, I actually booted up my copy of DMC5 or 4 Special Edition on my Xbox just to get in and check out Vergil's move list and to play around with him, and you know, just kind of mess around in Bloody Palace. I was actually blown away by the similarities between DMC4 Vergil and DMC5.
Actually, well, because I was going to talk a bit about the moveset, because oh my god, we are like acting like fun girls, but oh my god, we didn't even talk once about one single move. And yeah, and DMC5 Vergil just uses again every single move that went into DMC4
with some, right? Like, I love
a bit tweaked actually, because there are one or two differences that are worth noting and worth loving.
Yeah.
First of all, we keep the air lunar phase, so the spinning move in the air.
Yep.
It was not in DMC3 but still in 4.
Yep.
The most significant change is aside from the what was the head on Earth, so the new thing is that Rising Sun is no longer tied to Devil Trigger and
Yes.
face, and it was so damaging that you couldn't exactly use it in combos. So right now it's still locked behind a move, kick 13, but you have to hold it. It's still, well, okay, it's still locked behind something, but you don't have to activate DT and be dependent on whatever DT mechanics are.
Yes.
That's great.
And I actually just realized that's probably the one clip of a move. I didn't see it, so I'm not even sure if it was in the stream. I'm not sure if they demoed it, but if they did, I missed it. That's the thing that I don't have in this video. They did? Okay, so I missed it. That's my bad. And that's the one move I wanted to talk about. I have it when he's in SDT, and the SDT enhanced version looks insane. But yes, kick 13, if you hold it down, goes into Rising Sun, which, okay, it would have been nice to just get Rising Sun on its own, but I'm still happy they threw it in, like you said, in a normal move that you can use outside of DT, which is so nice.
Yeah, like this was the biggest yikes about DMC4 Vergil is that
Where's Rising Sun?
The meta was super Vergil.
Yeah.
In every single way. And well, we're going to go back into it later because it's also a general opinion. But having Vergil everything back to human form is really great. And one difference that's also worth noting is the Starfall. So the dive kick.
Yes.
The dive kick, so Starfall, in DMC4, it has actually the same effect that Balrog has on DMC5 with Ignition. So when you land on the enemy, it actually launches purely upwards. And in DMC5 with Vergil, he goes away. There's a knock away, and that's quite different.
Yes, if it hits on the ground, and it's kind of awkward too, because you mentioned Dante's Balrog Ignition, right? Where I think it actually launched them straight up.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like
Whereas this, yeah, but this is weird. It actually knocks them away, and it does look really kind of awkward to combo off of.
Yeah, but I mean,
we can find a way.
It's not. Yeah,
you can probably just trick.
You can do stuff out of it, much like we didn't go back talk about Yamato, but Yamato has his own. I would say split because it's not handbreaker, but split. And this one launch, no need to go back straight. Like it's just people kind of see the move. Like if you want to do it, be my guest. But then you can see that with Yamato, the split actually launches the enemy upwards. It does a rebound, but straight upwards. So just maybe, they decided to trade both of the
properties. I know it's in here. I know I have that move on here. I think it's like aerial cleave or something like that.
Cleaver, I think it's named. And Mogokul says maybe you could use Simonet Swords and Mirage Blades to suspend the enemy in the air after Starfall launcher. Exactly.
Yes.
We will go into this later.
Yes, exactly. I think that's exactly, especially with the way they've shown it. It's like if you're locked on and just press trick, you're gonna automatically shoot a summon sword. It's like the game does a sword hanger for you.
Yep.
Yeah, here it is. So, you're right. It does shoot them straight up. Yeah, so that's perfect for a relaunch.
Because I'm a bit late compared to your voice, and so I'm actually saying, like, I don't see exactly when you put pause, but I mean, that's fine. I'm handling it.
Yeah, if you're watching on Twitch, it'll be a little behind, but yeah, you're right, actually. It does go straight up, so that'll be interesting. And then, of course, we have Beowulf's ultimate move, Hell on Earth, just looks, it's very, very Capcom, like Street Fighter inspired. Akuma has a move like this where he just raises his fist straight in the air and then slams the ground.
This is just a good nuke, and I'm like, I know Vergil is overpowered and stuff and all, but a nuke?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a limit.
Oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait to get my hands on this. Actually, I'm curious. It looks like it does about 4,000 damage on legendary Dark Knight mode, so it'll be interesting to see. I remember for DMC5, I actually put together like a nuke, like a summary of all the most powerful nukes. And you know, it's funny, we talk about Vergil being broken, but a fully charged up Red Hot Knight, Faust like meteor shower does hits for 12,000. So
Yeah, but it's much slower.
True.
I mean,
and it doesn't have any invincibility. This move does a third of that, but it's like fully invincible after like 10 frames.
yeah. And finishing about
holy shit.
Beowulf, there's one thing like it's come out now, but one thing I'd like to say I'm happy to see is kick 13 actually, because when we went into Dante in DMC5, you see Balrog, so yeah, okay, that's cool. He has a new moveset. It's Capoeira and it's original. That's good. But then you play Dante, and at some point you're like, wait, there's something missing. Where's the goddamn kick 13? And Dante being sort of a legacy version of a character too, where was it? It was nowhere to be found, and we were given Pyromania instead. And it felt like something was missing, because Kick 13 was everything. A bit powerful, not too powerful, but stylish. The animation was cool, and it's really. I was really afraid that if Vergil was going to make it as a playable character, if he would lose a Kick 13, and I'm glad he keeps it exactly the same.
Yeah, the animation is the same, and yeah, it just looks great, man. Like, oh. And it's not just the fact that Kick 13, so not only is Kick 13 back, but the fact that it goes into Rising Sun, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, 1,000% motivated.
It was so satisfying.
Absolutely. Okay, and with that, we can segue into Mirage Edge, which
Yeah.
I think from a design standpoint is brilliant, because they're like, okay, canonically, it doesn't make sense for him to use Force Edge, but you know what? He's just essentially crystallizing a phantom version of the sword. There you go. Problem solved. It looks awesome. It's got a cool name, and you know, Force Edge is back, baby. I love it.
It's a bit taller than the actual Force Edge, actually.
You think so? It's longer?
No, it's a bit longer, because Force Edge was smaller than Rebellion.
I think you're right, actually. You know what? I didn't even notice that, but that's a good shout. You know what? That doesn't bother me at all. I actually like that, because it looks on his back.
I don't mind this being this long. Like, really, there's no biggie about it. And I felt it actually struck me, even when I was much younger, when I was playing DMC3, I was like, it's a bit strange that Force Edge is a bit smaller, and even if when you play Dante's skin, you know DMC was skin, you have Rebellion replaced by Force Edge. I was like, was it always this small?
I don't think I've ever noticed that, but now that you mention it and I think back, you're right. It is actually smaller than Rebellion for sure. But yeah, man, it looks so sexy, man.
We will see the difference, because later on we're going to boot up DMC4 Special Edition, so we'll get to see the model. And yeah, I mean, Mirage, I pronounced the I in the wrong way first, but Mirage Edge is really cool, and once again they just did the right thing, which is exactly copy-pasting DMC4's moveset. And it's just great. Like, there's actually just one improvement, actually. And that would be the Stinger.
Oh.
That would be the Stinger, but it's not, well, you just don't necessarily realize it on the ground, but it's especially the Air Stinger. And in DMC4 Special Edition, Human Vergil has a really small range with his Air Stinger. And Inhuman, maybe that's a property with concentration, but he also retains DT Stinger range as human. And that's really cool because it will allow a lot of crossover situation. But then again, we'll go back into it much later.
Absolutely.
But that's really interesting because, yeah, it also gives a bit of mobility too. You can hit from way afar.
Yep.
So that's nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice. I mean, even for Helmbreaker, for those watching on Twitch, like it looks like his Stinger on the ground, like Stinger level 2 looks like almost like Dante's Devil Trigger Stinger.
Yeah, but what was I saying? Actually, almost the same effect. Well, that's the same effect as DMC5 Dante in Devil Trigger. Like,
yeah.
Just look at this. This is not a normal Stinger.
Yeah, no, it's not. So that looks like it hits hard. And so even I would love to see how it happens to characters that have armor, like the heavier enemies, the Proto Angelo and what are the faceless guys? I think they're just called.
Well, Proto is a tank, no matter how you see it.
Yeah.
That needs, well, just wouldn't say testing because it's not like you're going to do much combos on him, but I mean, it's stagger hard, so maybe a level 3 concentration. But what I noticed though, speaking about concentration actually, is it increased some properties, but in DMC4 it increased the number of hits in a single move, so it had a multi-hit properties, but this doesn't seem to be the way I'm actually watching. Yeah, it's actually one hit with high time. And it was maybe 3 with DMC4 Vergil.
Interesting. Yeah. So maybe they've toned down how much of an impact maximum concentration will have.
But I know why. I just found why, and it actually makes sense. It's because in DMC4 you were going to use Force Edge and High Time to overrule the super armor for Dante Must Die. So maybe this is the reason, because it was always scaled of a number of hits and not by the power of it. So maybe that's the reason.
Yeah, very interesting. It'll be really cool to see if someone does like a side-by-side comparison of every move at like 0 concentration, level 1, level 2, and then we can actually see if there is different hits or if it's purely just damage.
Yeah, this is level 3, so if it was the same as DMC4, you would see several hits. This isn't the case, so this is one hit. So this was probably made to so the character could be balanced for DMD.
Yep.
But there's this great finisher.
Yeah, Deep Stinger. The ultimate move for this. I love how you can aim it. I love how you can aim it.
I call it Gurren Lagann, the spirals of the way.
Oh, for sure. That actually makes a lot of sense, man. Like, my goodness. Like, especially from the footage that they've showed us of Legendary Dark Knight, where you literally have mobs of like 20 or 30 enemies. Like, this move will be phenomenal. You can literally just start doing this and just boom, just blast through all of them.
Yeah, very impressive. But yeah, maybe, this, Mirage Edge is probably the less tweaked of Vergil weapons, but it's not a bad thing whatsoever.
No, I don't think so. And I love how you can aim it too. So like, I can literally just imagine a swarm of like 30 plus enemies, and you're just doing slaps around them or through them, just absolutely destroying. The Mango's asking whether there's like a invincibility on the startup of Deep Stinger as well. That'll be really interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see.
It's likely the same as Judgment Cut. And Hell on Earth, you can get punished on the
startup. Yeah, and I think what will happen is, I think as soon as you trigger the move, like as soon as you trigger the move and he starts charging up, all your resources are gone. Everything that you needed. So if you needed full SDT is gone as soon as you trigger the move. And so if you get hit, in the startup animation, you essentially get punished. All your resources are gone, you get knocked out of it, and the move doesn't come out.
Startup deep sting while run trip is going to make it safer. Actually, I'm not sure it works simply because you actually use the sword.
Yeah, the sword's gone.
How Force Edge always worked is that if you have run trip, unlike DMC3, you're not going to use Yamato only. If you use something like that, so for example, in DMC4, you were able to use drive, run trip was coming back to you, and it just happened.
Oh, that's interesting. So hold on. Can you say that again? So in DMC4, if you throw out round trip, what happens if you just start doing normal melee attacks? Will
you bring back the round trip?
Oh, like okay. You just cancel it. Okay.
It cancels. It's more, let's say it's a bit similar to Sword Pierce with Dante in DMC3. Just to make it clear for you. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it's okay. I had actually never even tested or even thought to test that, so that's very cool. So with that, so that's kind of like his weapons. I have 3 more, but they're a little shorter. So the next video is just kind of like a very quick summary of his summon swords, or Mirage blades, as they're now called. Not to cause any confusion with Mirage Edge. No, maybe that's actually just to make an actual
theme.
Normalization.
Yes. Mirage instead of summon. I mean, for me, they'll always be summon swords, but we more or less have Miracle Edge.
The true ones will know.
Exactly. So these ones look pretty similar, you know, like he's got the standard swords, he's got spiral swords or spiral blades. All the fan favorites return. He's got Blistering Storm. He's got the regular Sword Storm, which, so in DMC4, Kyo, the one that surrounds the enemy and then they all hit it once, which I think is just a Sword Storm. Did that launched in DMC4 as well?
Launch. Oh yeah. Well, I was going to talk a bit about all of them. So Storm Swords indeed launches the enemy on DMC4, and I believe maybe as high as before, because it launched really high, and that's why I stopped using it as I moved on, because it was maybe a bit too much of an easy launcher. But yeah, it launches high, and I mean high. Well, people will probably use it for combos, and then I mean, who can blame them? But I can see it being so much as much useful because it's actually too high, because there's not the same relationship with height that you have in DMC4.
And of course, I realize now as I'm watching this that was one of the ones I didn't actually grab.
Only one that's actually not showed right there.
Yeah, I know, that was the one that I wanted to talk about a little bit more. So I do apologize for missing Kick 13 and also the Storm Blades.
No, Kick 13 was shown.
What's that?
It was Rise I Sun that was skipped.
No, I'm pretty sure I saw it. I'm pretty sure it was in this. Oh, you know what? You might be right. But yeah. In any case, I did put all these videos together this morning prior to the stream. So, but a little. They're perfectly imperfect, but it's okay. But yeah. So I mean, yeah. Standard stuff with the summon swords. Not really too much to say.
Actually, yeah, I have a couple of things that could be shared. Like
Please.
A bit of 7 different game. Like for example, the Spiral Sword. So the basic hold, and you've got all of them order on you.
Yep.
I noticed they are not as much as a hard stun that they could be DMC3 or 4. So then we can actually sleep through them. Like if you look at it. It's chaos, so maybe it's not right. It's not actually such a good example, but you could see a similar reaction with basic and miss. So it's not actually as an art stun as it used to be. I would like to. I think the hold when release wasn't showcased yet. But that's probably going the only thing that I could see interesting. I'm actually just going to disable it because I just don't like it overall. About blistering swords, so the sword that shoots absolutely forward.
Yes.
They seem to shoot faster than DMC4.
They shoot so fast. It's insane how fast they shoot.
Yeah.
Like this is in slow motion.
No, this is. I think this is This is normal speed.
This is normal speed now. What I was showing before. This is normal speed.
Is this 100%? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so try to crank it 20% just for turbo mode speed.
Oh, I think I can't. You can't speed up with VLC, unfortunately. You can only slow down. I think this is on turbo though.
Whatever.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Matt Edwards was playing on turbo.
Not at the beginning. Oh yeah, it looks. Yeah, maybe I was a bit accustomed to the slow part. So yeah, blistering shoot a bit faster, and it was a good thing or not? Yeah, yes and no. But the thing is, the faster the hit, the less longer the stun animation is with each hit. So it's a bit technical, but it doesn't hold the enemy as long because they shoot faster. In short.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the way they Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about the last one, which are called heavy rain swords.
Yes, and now this one, I did do a freeze frame in the video when Matt Edwards had the move list came up, and he even commented that you can actually hold these down to delay the launch of them dropping. So.
Yeah, like actually every single one of them actually.
Oh, that's cool. That makes sense.
And they did a good tweak compared to DMC4 because in DMC4 the everyone swords, and I mean that was adjustable. They just glued the enemy to the ground, and then there was the freeze. In DMC5 they act a bit differently because they do a juggle properly, but they freeze airborne, and that's interesting. Because you can actually delay some stuff. You can delay some stuff after, let's say, a stinger. You put heavy rain at the right timing, and then you could just delay the knockback. So it can actually lead to some setup. But I just gave up an idea that I had ever since I was in DMC4, but I could never do it because it was so inconsistent. And by the way, even if they seem random, it's not such a big deal. But I will get into it when we are going into the tech part.
Yes. Yeah.
This was really.
I can imagine a setup where it's like you almost have the heavy rain storm, like you set up the blades, you do the stinger, and then right as you do the stinger and you knock them away, you unleash the swords, and so it'll come down, catch the enemy, and then you can juggle them and catch them. That would be cool.
Yeah, actually that's something that was hardly possible in DMC4. There was one condition with the knight enemies. And that's a thing I managed to do once. I was in PS4, not even on PC. It was in PS4, and it was so random, because random is the word. But I couldn't do it. I knew it was possible, but I could never do it again.
It's like
so
the
I will be
conditions.
able to do it in DMC5 for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Like in DMC4, the conditions had to be just right. Okay. Very cool. And then so lastly would be the Doppelganger and Sin Devil Trigger.
V2 maybe.
What's that?
Oh, okay. So apparently, well, you missed the part where you can turn Vergil into V.
Oh yeah, they didn't actually demo that. I mean, in I think they did it during the actual stream. Ironically, I'm a little biased. I don't like that move at all. I'm not hype about it.
I can say I'm much of a fan, but there's one thing, and we're going to talk about in tech part, and something I asked Matthew Edwards after the stream, and it could be interesting, but much like you, it's not like yeah, I mean, as a fan, I'm a huge fan of the idea. There's a bit of knockback and stuff, but familiars in DMC5 at what they are, which means completely uncontrollable. So it's just a bit of a fan move. I mean, it's. I'm glad it exists actually.
I mean, it's. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about it. Like, yeah, it's cool because they had some unused assets, and they're like, can we make this awesome? And it's like V just kind of comes out and does this massive nuke, and then kind of goes back to Vergil. I don't know. It's cool because they kind of just threw it in there. They didn't have to, but they did. So that element of it is cool. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. It just seems like it's going to cost resources. It'll probably cost, you'll probably have to be at level 2 concentration. It'll probably cost your full SDT. There's other things that I'd rather do it.
It costs concentration and 1 bar of DT upon activating.
That's it?
Yeah. And you gain, Mango Code said it, and you actually have a greater chance of having green orbs for whichever enemy you killed under this form.
Oh, I see.
So it's actually your way to gain some HP back without SDT.
Interesting. So this is where so maybe I'm misunderstanding, because I thought, so is he can actually become V and you can actually take over and play as V temporarily? I thought V would just come out and do this massive nuke and then that's it. It's not something that you could control.
No, you don't seem to actually control it. As someone said, it's actually depending of your concentration gauge. But I would like, or I will probably see that at some point in maybe 3 days, if you can actually stop it on your own, because that would be an interesting thing.
Yeah. So they're saying, yeah, it's just a summon that you can do. But I'm surprised that it costs so little. Like, yeah, you're full. It's just a big nuke, but it only costs 1 bar of DT.
Yeah, like Royal Fork.
Yeah. But like, it looks insane. Like, it looks like you do a lot. Like, so that seems like a huge payout for not a lot of resources.
Not necessarily, because as they said, it just costs your concentration gauge, and then it depends on the length of it. So it depends on what you want to do. I'm thinking as a combo maker, of course, because I could see something out of it. But there could be an interest, and then again, it's mostly a fan move. Like, Vergil has so many options, so if you are in need of green orbs, and then you don't have access to his DT, this is a pretty good way of doing it, because you summon Nightmare and stuff. So Nightmare is it's quite a hard hitter.
Yes.
So I mean, it's situational. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so yeah, it'll be interesting then. Like you said, especially if there's a chance for you to get like green orbs and things like that, I could see that being very useful. Especially if you're in the long haul, you might have to be very strategic with how you use it, especially if you're doing like Bloody Palace. You might not want to use your full SDT as your only means of regaining health. So yeah, it's just an alternative available to you. Yes, there's only 2 levels of concentration.
3.
Is there 3? I thought there was only 2. It's like level 1 and then 2 is max. So it's like 0, level 1, level 2.
Oh, well, because I think of it as 1, 2, 3.
Oh, level 3 is
Semantics.
like max. Yes.
Semantics. And yeah, actually, someone just brought up the fact that about the tones, because there's some nice tones, and especially, well, the air tones have functions.
Yeah.
And so,
oh,
I don't know if you have a clip.
I do have a clip. And I am so excited. I'm going to make this a meme. This is going to be a meme of me freaking nutting my pants. Just being like, I was losing my shit. I was at my parents' last night when they, just Gur is saying he tweeted this on my, he messaged this on my Discord, and I saw this, and I was just like,
Oh no.
Exactly. So man, I might actually have to go and like map my taunt button somewhere a little bit more accessible. I mean, the way my control setup is, I don't think I'll have any problem getting over to where taunt is to do this.
Yeah, but you need an S rank.
Yes, S rank or higher.
S rank or higher, and
yeah.
the lower one is like a low ground ecstasy. So Vergil actually throws a bit like a fork. He throws summoned swords, a bit large enemy, and a bit of sword.
Yes, I wanted to grab a clip of that, but unfortunately I wasn't able to. I kind of just ran out of time. But yes, so that's going to be like a nice little like relaunch midair, and then you can like trick up or air trick, and then continue your assault. But I absolutely love, and
and we were all like, Vergil is so perfect, and then you just like the original.
This is icing on the cake.
And then you see this like at the last moment, you're like, no.
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
They didn't have to. But I'm so happy that they did.
They just took every chance possible to just mesh everything out there. Everything.
Yep. I can't wait for this. I mean, this move, it's so simple, but spamming this move was probably one of the most satisfying things in DMC3 for me. It's
just a throwback. It's just a throwback. And just remember, and it seems like you can't actually do only the first hit. It's pretty much, maybe that's just my interpretation, but I have an hunch it's actually this, sort of a throwback to the good old spam AoE rave stuff you do in DMC3 combo mats.
It's gonna be awesome. And Abbott, yes. Yeah, he does have trick up, but the thing is that, we're not sure how it's going to behave when you have an embedded set and sword.
I can explain, actually.
Okay.
So, it's shown in the skill list, and basically you have the classic trick in DMC4 that works. So yeah, first of all, Vergil can trick. Every trick option of Vergil
omnidirectional.
Back to human.
Yep.
First of all, second point, the DMC4 system, so with embedded sword, works only with lock-on, and I say lock-on because this is an important point, plus the style. And then, so you have a trick up, which is basically you don't need an embedded sword, but you do trick without lock-on, and it just goes up. So it was supposed to work in DMC4, but it was junk in DMC4 because if you wanted to do trick up, if there was an embedded sword, you were just going to trick to the enemy, so you couldn't trick up in most cases, and this was such a missed point and such a mistake they probably didn't have time to realize. So you have trick up, regular trick, but trick down is back too. And much to my surprise, but I think I can understand the reason. It's down and up. It's actually the same input as Dante.
Yes, yeah, trick down.
But the next reason why is the presence of the dodge trick. So dodge trick works only on the ground, whether you lock on or not, and you can actually trick in any direction on the ground. So this is the whole package of it. And this gives Vergil the all needed mobility.
Insane mobility with that.
And the thing though, I mean, if you look at the modded files of Vergil, the modded Vergil in DMC5, you could see that dodge trick was possible in the air. So there was an intentional design to keep it on the ground.
I think that makes sense. I think that's fair. Just again, another balancing tweak, I'd say.
Yeah, and that's pretty good.
So do you know, Kyo, whether or not it'll be possible to trick up with an embedded summon sword? I imagine it will be, but from what I've seen in the streams, I haven't confirmed it yet.
You can. This is actually why they made a point that it's impossible to do the neutral trick if you don't have lock on pressed, which was actually why DMC4 was flawed in this area. So you can just release lock on. Oh, actually, it seems like your
I know you.
third party camera is a bit.
I know. Your camera's going a little haywire. I'm wondering. I just tried to. It looks fine. It's the way OBS. It's fine on the call in Google Chrome. It's the way OBS is translating it. Oh, there we go. It actually went back to normal.
Oh, excellent.
So it'll clean up on the stream in just a sec. Okay, so that's cool. So they fixed his whole trick, his whole Dark Slayer trick. Like trick down will now work as they intended. Trick down will be possible in human form, and trick up will now work as intended, which is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's actually a simple reason because dodge trick, you can have trick down being straight down because of dodge trick.
Yep, exactly.
Same for trick up after all.
It'll be interesting to see how far trick down works because I think trick down is possible in the air and on the ground. So it'll be interesting how far you go back compared to just dodge trick going backwards.
Dodge trick is really a straight horizontal line, so you go and dodge faster. So trick down works exactly like in DMC3.
It'll just be further back.
Yeah, it's a bit diagonal, but maybe like a 20 degrees angle.
Mm-hmm.
And dodge trick is really an horizontal dodge, so much longer.
Okay, yes, yeah, it's probably at least double the distance of a normal trick dodge if you're on the ground.
Yep.
Oh man, that's sexy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think they did a great job with his taunts. So it's really nice that they've actually fixed some of the its quality of life changes for Dark Slayer compared to DMC4, which is very, very nice.
Much appreciated. Yeah.
Yes, 1,000%. And so with that, I think really the only thing left to cover before we start getting into some of the heavier stuff is the doppelganger. I'm really excited for the doppelganger. We already talked a little bit about it, but there's 3 options. You can essentially have the doppelganger out, have him match you move for move, or you can change it so that he's somewhat faster than you. So he'll do his inputs faster than you, or he'll do his inputs delayed behind you.
Yeah. And actually, the clip showed one example of a doppelganger. Actually, the doppelganger did the slowing down, and Vergil kept hitting, and it still seemed slowed down. So that's interesting. And yeah, I mean, I'm certainly not a doppelganger expert at all. So, but I can see where you can go from there. An interesting thing I noticed, and I will talk about it later on, is how you can use Beowulf move, because Doppelganger is locked to Yamato.
Yes, for now anyway. We'll see if it changes. I don't think it will.
I don't think so. I clearly don't think so, because as you can see, he uses all 3 weapons.
Yep.
I saw Doppelganger being triggered from different weapons. So
oh no, I was just alluding to, like, it'll probably will be like that for the day 1 build. Like, maybe they'll patch it later, but I doubt it. Very limited chance.
I think not, and there's a thing that goes a bit in that way, is that you can actually trigger Judgment Card's timings with Beowulf attacks.
Wait, you can? I would think so.
Yeah, no, actually, it was confirmed by the development team. So let's say you do Starfall. The Doppelganger is doing his Yamato attack. You're inputting. But if you release it at the good timing, you do have a Just Frame Judgment Card from the Doppelganger.
That would make sense, because even in Devil May Cry 3, if there was a move that required you to hold down something, like, so for example, if your Doppelganger double has Beowulf and you're using, I'm trying to think of another move that can hold down,
Drive?
like Yeah, drive, exactly. Where you can, if you charge down drive in Rebellion, but put in the input for your doppelganger for beast uppercut, the doppelganger would sit there charging the beast uppercut while you're holding down triangle or melee for drive, right? And then so you release it, and out will come your doppelganger's beast uppercut. So it makes sense that you can use charge moves on a different weapon to trigger a charge attack on the clone. 100%.
Now, in that specific thing, what it means is that Capcom actually coded the actual Judgment Cut timings into Beowulf moves and likely into Forsage moves too. This is what it means because
that's cool.
Because it works, as you said, on pure mirroring, but also delayed. So they actually did a lot of coding, and I will go back into it about what it could mean.
Actually, yeah. Here's a great example. So he's actually doing Beowulf combo 2. And he summons the clone, and then while he's charging up the lightning legs, the Chun-Li lightning legs, you have the clone back here charging up Judgment Cut.
Yeah, a regular one, but you can do a perfect one too.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
That's what I meant.
Yes. So, oh my goodness, the options,
just look at this.
The damage. Oh, I know. I'm actually psyched. I wish in a perfect world we would have had like a crazy like Devil Trigger and then the Send Devil Trigger and the clone, but I'm happy with this. I'm really happy with the way they did it. It makes sense because of how powerful the clone is that it's going to eat into your Devil Trigger charge as well. But I love how you can SDT and use the Doppel as well. That's sick.
Yeah, but, like pretty much everyone. We saw the DT concept art for Vergil in DMC5, and you're like, why didn't you just do it? Because this is only nothing but stylish and was much better than Dante's. And well, that's a shame, but because this is a $5 DLC.
Oh yeah.
Are we really allowed to complain about something as trivial?
I mean, dude, the value, this would be the best $5 I ever spend.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like at minimum, you're probably going to put in at least 100 hours, if not hundreds of hours into this character. You do the math. If you play him for 100 hours, and you only spent out of a $5 investment, like do the math, man. Holy.
Yeah, that, but I mean, most of the fans will go through the missions, the difficulties, and the drop the game. So this is going to be like, well, yeah, it's still a couple of hours. So DMC, it's a game with so many replayability value. Not everyone does it, but I mean, in no ways you can tell me that, because let's have a bit of a review. You have at least 2 new cutscenes.
Yep.
You have so some new Yamada moves, virtual recording. You have the fact that because this is the RE engine, they add Dan software to redo all of the moves in motion capture.
Yep.
Doppelganger added. Come on.
I know.
$5? $5 for this?
Insane how much we're getting.
I say it's underpriced.
Oh yeah, I agree. How much would you be willing to pay for just Vergil? Just Vergil.
I'd say $8.
8? Oh man. I think I would be comfortable paying at least like 10 to 20.
Yeah, but with more cutscenes.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I mean,
story mode. Because,
an actual more story mode, absolutely.
Yeah, without a story mode, this is overpriced. Underpriced, my bad.
So it'll be really interesting, and it'll be interesting to see what the mod makers are able to do with him. Like, there's going to be some costume changes for sure, which is going to be nice because I personally am not a fan of the black coat. I prefer his original one, like the what's on the X costume. But
it's a nice color.
Absolutely. It'll be really, really nice to see what they do with him.
It's actually not black, it's navy blue.
Oh, is it navy blue? It's very, very dark navy blue, if that's the
Yeah,
case.
it's navy blue, but there's actually already some mods. So there's a cordless Vergil mod, which looks absolutely sexy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I mean, no gay, but Christ.
Yeah, no homo. Oh yeah, dude, Vergil looking sweet, man. Oh my goodness.
Cordless, it just looks so good.
I know, man. Like, oh, and then finally, dude,
SDT.
some of these enhancements in SDT, like the explosion alone when he transforms, like, oh, just oozing with fucking power. The fact that you can still use the goddamn doppelganger. One thing I noticed too is you can turn it off whenever. It's not like Dante's where you're locked in for the full bar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was on pause and people talking like that. Yeah, apparently there was, but you couldn't hear it in any stream because there was the voice over. So some people noticed that was a Dante, and that's pretty brave, actually.
Oh yeah, the Dante style announcer. Right? Is that what you mean?
I never got to hear properly. I tried. Didn't find it.
You're right. I didn't hear it at all. But yes, I've heard. I saw that someone tweeted about that, which is really cool. And man, like what also I think is really cool, and this was in DMC4 as well, is that all of his normal like combo strings and whatnot are going to be enhanced. So this is a great example of like the first Yamato, the basic Yamato combo. There's at least 2 or 3 extra hits. Somewhere a little bit later on in this. So this is the Hell on Earth move, I think, is what he was. Oh, never mind. Yeah. This is the Force Edge combo that he uses. So like the extra like stab at the end, like these moves look like they do so much damage. Whack! Like, oh. It just looks
slick and savage, and there's like the Beowulf they added where kick 13 acts different.
Kick 13? Dude, he does like 30 freaking kicks into Rising Sun. Like that.
Literally 14.
Look at this. Yeah, he literally does like 13 kicks, man. Like look at this. Look at I'm gonna slow this down even more. This is half speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I lost count. I think there's literally 13 kicks in there. Like absolutely outrageous. You'd almost have to go frame by frame because in the middle, even at 50% speed, that combo is an incredible, absolutely incredible.
Just imagine how much mastery you need to have just to be dancer first and motion capture this.
Oh yeah.
Just like, imagine Dan doing this.
Oh yeah. I'd love to see that actually. Like, oh, so nice. And I think there's oh yeah, he does the Force Edge combo 2, I think, which is really, really nice. And the combo 2, from what I've read, it adds in SDT, it adds quite a number of hits when he's spinning, which is very nice. So bam, 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 and then the spin. Yeah, it just looks absolutely gorgeous.
So yeah, I'm actually glad of something that SDT doesn't have. In DMC4, Lunar Phase in Devil Trigger was like so spinning. It was a Beyblade. It was just a Beyblade, and it dealt a lot of damage. I didn't like it, and they actually didn't do it again on DMC5. I'm actually happy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so I was just gonna say on with Lunar Phase, I know it's like the way they do Lunar Phase in DMC4 is when he's DT, he does Lunar Phase into Rising Sun. At least on the ground, and like it kind of is clunky because Lunar Phase is kind of this intermediary move, so it's kind of and like you said, yeah, it's definitely like toned down in terms of the speed of it, so it still looks crazy and it looks really good, but it's not over the top.
Yeah, exactly. And if I one last thing I like to go back is the DT activation. It's actually similar to the full standing activation of DT of DMC4 Vergil. So it's nice that they kept it this way, and even better, it's just juggling up. It's just juggling up because the DMC4 was just putting the enemies away. So this could have uses, but I actually prefer it this way.
Imagine a combo where you take them up into the ground or up into the air, you juggle them, you land, and then use like a summon sword or blistering storm to temporarily hang them in place so they're juggled in the air. You land and then activate like STT, and then you relaunch them, and then you go into like an aerial like SDT combo or something. Like,
man, I just better just bear with me for a minute. Just have your doppelganger set. Just have you go away at a distance that allows you to have a doppelganger do a Yamato combo that puts the enemy the enemy catch-ups to you because of a knockback. So you are away, and the doppelganger sends you on you activating the trigger.
Oh man, dude, it's like baseball. It's like, here you go, Vergil, catch, and he just tees up the enemy for you, and the enemy just flies towards you, and then you're just like, as you transform.
Get this alley-oop, man.
Get fucked, man. Oh my god, dude, that is sick. I'm loving this.
Only one of the example.
Dude, you like you said, so in our DMs leading up to this, Kyo has been messaging me being like, dude, my mind is exploding. I have so many ideas. So this is great. Oh, it's just exploded. This is perfect. Well, it's the mind of a combo maker never stops, right?
Actually, it was so tough that I was having Dante and Nero combo ideas before Vergil started to showcase Beowulf, and now my mind is so busy with Vergil, and I know I won't be able to play it until the next month. I can't think of something else but Vergil. I can play Dante or Nero right now, or even Vergil DMC4 or 3 because I'm too good and busy about 5. Obsession,
man. I love it. And that's, it's just, you just can't, you're locked in, man, and that's what I love. That's what I love about these games is like, I've already, one thing I like to do is when I sit down with a new character, for me, like, things don't solidify in my mind until I write them out. And so this morning when I was going through and preparing all these clips and rewatching the stream where Matt was going into the move list, and then you could see like how to execute all the moves, I actually wrote out the move list. And I've actually done this for all the other characters too. I wrote out like Dante's full move list because of how massive it is. One is so I can reference like all the moves, but two is just to it helps me visualize it in my mind. And it's just how I kind of learn. So I've already done that. I've already wrote out the move list, and now I can start experimenting and putting things together in my mind. And I don't know, that's just kind of how I work. It's like a puzzle. And so by writing out the move list, I've now laid all the puzzle pieces on the table, and now I can start playing.
That's a way to do it. I mean, I just have everything kept in my head. Yeah, I can understand. I mean, I remember when I first started, I did something like that, but more like combo, because I was doing a draw and I wanted the enemy to go there from there, and I was like, I need to find ways to do that. So I was just visualizing where I wanted Vergil to go, or the enemy for that matter. So I was some complicated schemas at first, but I dropped that fast because I had enough experience to drop it, but whew.
I know, man. I know, and that's what happens. Your mind starts thinking, and you start calculating, and then it's like, the
meme brain when the girl wants to try sleeping, and the brain whispers, "Oh wait, I know how," and you're like,
when you're trying to sleep, I swear to God, I'm a night owl because like every time I'm trying to sleep, and like it's especially bad when I have work the next morning, and as I'm sitting there, your mind just starts to wander, and all of a sudden you just have this like amazing idea, and it's a great idea, so it like perks you up, and then you're just like, oh my God, I have to like do something. I can't get this idea out of my head. You have to like get up and either experiment or like write it down or something. Crazy. But so what I was gonna suggest, Keo, is we've more or less kind of covered and commented the full list. We kind of have an overview of what we can expect with DMC5 Vergil. Now I want to allow you to do some of your theory crafting. But what I was gonna suggest is just before we flip over here is let's take a quick maybe 3 or 4 minute break. Because we've been streaming just shy of 2 hours now. So I'd like to get top up on water, stretch the legs a little bit. And then when we get back, we'll switch over to DMC4 and you can start showcasing this.
I have some water left, but I can fill them, no problem.
Okay, perfect. So chat, guys, thanks for hanging in there with us. I know we're not following chat as close as we'd like to, but we will definitely go back. I know that there has been a couple new follows as well, and thank you guys so much for the support. We had 21 people chilling and hanging out with us right now. So guys, shout outs to you, and we'll definitely towards the end of the stream, we'll definitely work back through the chat.
Back for the technical bullshit we're going to throw, and it's going to be full technical vomit.
And this is what I love, man. See, this is the thing. I'm gonna have this recorded now, so I can go back and I'm gonna take notes, man. I'm gonna write stuff down, because this is how I learned DMC4 Vergil, man, from the legend himself. So, guys, we will be right back in about 3 to 5. Cheers.
Yeah.
Oh shit, we're back.
Okay, man. Okay, fellas, we're back. So we're going to. So if you're not exactly interested in combo vomiting, well, I mean, bear with us because we're still going to do it anyway. So we're going to do a bit of a comparison. So what we have likely to do to switch back and forth with a footage. This is going to be comparison and especially tag, because there's going to be things that I would like to go more in detail. I will just book the game and thankfully, call it Destiny or not, but I boot up on Vergil starting screen, which is actually insane. So this is actually for PC version, and I'm actually using a trainer for training mode. So don't worry about this. I'm going to choose a room to pop the enemies in. I'm going to be in. Okay, we could see the. Oh, it crashed. Oh my God.
Yeah, no worries, man.
No.
That happens to the best of us when we're using mods, man. It's an imperfect system. I know Devil May Cry 5 has crashed on me a number of times, man, so no problem. Take your time. And actually, while you're booting that back up, I would just like to give a huge shout outs to Keo, guys, because when him and I were actually talking about throwing this together, this was actually his idea. He's like, hey man, do you want me to boot up DMC4 and we can actually do like a really deep dive? Because guys, if you've seen, I'm not sure if you've seen any of Keo's combo videos, he's a technically strong player, like loads, like I look like a complete scrub if you compare us side by side. So being able to get a live demo with his commentary on the fly like this is absolutely amazing. I'm really looking forward to it.
Thanks.
Vergil comes alive when this guy plays him, man. And you were telling me, you and I were talking, Keo, how you really, wanted to make your mark with Vergil, and you spent a lot of time perfecting him. You even kind of made up some new tech for DMC4 Vergil, which is really exciting, man. So this hands-on demo, I'm super excited for.
Okay, so very good. Okay. Oh well, I just performed one, but I think I will need to temporarily. Maybe I will just keep the chat because this is actually a bit hindering my my own FPS. Well, so we are not exactly FPS, but just my perception of it. So
Sure.
if there's someone having a question, please shoot them.
Yeah.
So this is going, as I said, a training mode, and I'm using Super Vergil, of course. I'm just need to. Okay. So, so just going to have this comparison. So you remember how Force Edge, or rather Mirage Edge, had only one hit
On level 3. Yes, it only had level 3 on high
So you're going
time.
to have a comparison. Like, you could probably see that there's a bit of a multi-hit thing that happened. I'm not sure you can exactly see it.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, it's actually a bit strange. Like, you can see that depending on the range, there's one hit less. So maybe that's the thing that sells out a bit.
I see.
Okay.
So the animation is more or less the same, but there's actually multi-hits that are built into it.
So yeah, this was this, and I was also talking about the Air Stinger. So Air Stinger in DMC4, or at least DMC5, on normal Vergil, it's exactly like DT. You travel more or less this far from the cliffs I could see around, but if you go on normal Vergil, this is as far as you get.
What? Oh yeah, there's like 0 range.
Yeah, and I'm on level 2. And I'm on level 2, so this is why it's actually interesting. Because, okay, let's say I'm going to do drive. Oh, well, I don't know. Let me find something. Oh shit, I killed the enemy. I will just, okay. Oh crap, I also put another one.
Nice. You got some stuff to kill now.
Oh, whatever. Well, bear with me. Okay, all fixed. So, just finding something not too shitty. Yeah, okay, I will let. Yeah, you see, it allows you to cross over, but if I do the same, like, you know, there's no crossover, that's pretty lame. So this is what I meant by mobility.
So have you seen a clip where Air Stinger is actually going an extended range?
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Actually, it actually gets the same range as in Devil Trigger, but in human form, which is actually great.
That's awesome. A nice quality of life change again.
Yeah, absolutely. But maybe that's a concentration thing. Like this will need testing. About an addition of DMC5, and I wish people to understand how valuable moving around with trick is in 5. So you need to be in Devil Trigger for a trick down, and you need to do jump. So yeah, well, whatever. So for side trick, you need it's a dodge, but then again, it's only on
Devil Trigger.
On Devil Trigger, exactly. And there was a way, but let's say it's like you mentioned that I develop a tech, so this is actually a way to cancel anything into moving into a direction, much like you can do in DMC5 now, or at least you will be able to. And I call this end dashing. So I will do a prime example, and then I will explain how it works. So for end dashing, actually, so let's say you see Vergil faces the enemy, so in theory, if it does string down, it goes like this. And you can't trick forward. The only way would be rapid slash. But
that's cool.
So yeah, you actually go, oh well, I was a bit too fast. Oh wait, yeah, it's a bit annoying with switching weapons, but you could see that I was able to cross over with a trick down, yet I was facing the enemy.
Yeah, and I think we talked a little bit about that tech, and in order to actually like do that, you're doing the upper slash, and then you're doing a move. You're essentially reversing another move, and then canceling that other move with a air trick down, I believe.
Yeah, more that's it. So actually, it's and dash for a reason because I use a reverse judgment cut and to do it. The reason why is that in DMC4 you can actually it actually has a system in which you can, as long as you have an event sword, you can cancel any move
With a trick.
with trick, exactly.
Yeah.
And I did a nice dodge right here. So right now, so let's say it works also with drive, and it was also a reason why Vergil was too broken. It was you could spam and oh my god, I'm so good with Vergil.
Whoa. So that's crazy.
So under that principle, you could, let's say I canceled Stinger into a reverse thing, but okay, down to the actual matter. So let's say I want to crossover. So what I need to do is actually reverse judgment cut end, but because when I activate GCA, the system doesn't recognize the enemy anymore. You can't see the lock-on stuff anymore, and yet I inputted it. Because, so if I want to crossover, I need to actually input down where the direction Vergil faces, and this is how you do it. And it allows you to much faster and in an unparalleled way, and crossover in situation you would normally be not able to.
That's so cool, man. You're doing like just crazy triangle like all over the place.
So I mix up with another glitch I'm going to get to actually. And so, back to original point, they made a system so using dodge trick, you can now do pretty much the same. So you can be as fast and crossover in what could be normally impossible situation. Well, it's now possible with DMC5, it's normalized.
Yes.
So just normalized.
Yeah, you'll be able to just essentially press in any direction. It's omnidirectional. There was actually a really good question in chat, and I think you kind of just answered it. But basically, Mango was asking that we're assuming that judgment cut canceling is gone because of the built-in consecutive judgment cuts. So that could possibly be it, Mango. But also, like to what Keo is saying, is that it might not even be possible, or it might not even be necessary to do cancels like this anymore.
Yeah, well,
because you can just,
it was actually one of the points I was going to make, but first of all, maybe for people who are not necessarily aware with the tech Mango is talking about, so Judgment Cut Cancel was one of the tricks that saved Vergil's ass in DMC4. So basically, Judgment Cut allows you, with a slide of a thumb, at least in my case, to cancel a move with an air ball judgment cut. So it has several examples. Oh wait, well it's not 100%, and I'm playing with 120 FPS. So let me just put it back on 60 because it's a bit easier, as well as consecutive. Because there are some property being different. Wait, so I need to go to frame rate and input 60 FPS max. It's quite different. It's quite perturbing actually. Oh. So,
yeah, I can imagine.
So see, you can do several ones. So these are the consecutive cancels Mango was talking about. So this is actually working through some kind of buffering.
And so, okay, so because for me, I actually have a huge gap when it comes to DMC4 Vergil. You normally cannot do consecutive judgment cuts, except if you use this tech, correct?
That's more or less the case, at least in the air. In the air, yes. On the ground, this is a bit different, but I'm going to go back into it later because actually I haven't answered much of a question. There's actually some variants of judgment cut cancels, which are actually niche, and you wouldn't expect much people to know about it. And this variant works more like it's called weapon switch judgment cut cancel, but more than one reason, because it works a bit like, let's say, an on-off switch. So let's say, yeah, I just did one. So you see, I did Stinger, I landed on the ground, and I finished with a judgment card. Right now, I did it again. And I was watching some clips, and in auto mode of some Vergil footage in 5, I could see that a player did a Beowulf attack, he tricked, like I did with Stinger, and then he switched to Yamado where there was a just frame judgment card that came out of it. And that's what got me really curious, because this is so niche you wouldn't even expect Capcom to know. And yet, this is reproduced not only on a game basis, but auto mode as it's coded into the game.
That's pretty interesting.
They likely, it's my assumption, it's likely that Capcom saw Vergil plays and they got inspired by it, and they sort of try to re-implement it. Because this is definitely something that you can't reproduce on purpose. This glitch is so difficult that even with tasks, so reproducing inputs with computers, you can't have a 100% success even of 60 FPS. So this tells you how much this was not intended at first. And yet they seemingly put it back.
Which is, yeah, so that's very interesting. So basically what you're doing right there, where you trick into Judgment Cup, that's essentially the glitch, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's different variants. So there's the classic Judgment Cup cancel, in which it directly goes into the air. Sorry, I just failed it at times. Ah, come on.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So this one is the basic one. Oh wait, I'm going to show a very nice application of a glitch. Oh well, not quite. It was supposed to be facing the other way around, like me. Well, I'm doing it anyway. So this is the weapon switch variant, which is extremely tough to do. Let me try with Beowulf again. Oh crap.
Oh wow.
It needs some bits of buffer times, actually.
Well, like you were saying, like it's hard to reproduce even with computer-assisted play. Question in the chat for me, actually, from Mubin, is whether or not this makes me want to play 4 SE, Vergil. To a little bit. I mean, I was actually motivated to bust him out a little bit earlier today. But the problem is like I would still need to get a copy of it for PC in order. What I want to do is I want the training mode. But unfortunately that's only possible on PC. And if I'm gonna play 4 SE or 5, modded 5, I'd rather play 5, to be honest. So while I'm curious,
what's the question?
Whether or not I want to play 4 SE Vergil. And it's like I wouldn't mind if I had it already. Oh, another question actually. And Kyo, I'm curious about this as well. Mango is asking whether we're going to buy a next gen console. I myself, I'm not planning to right away. We'll see. Maybe 5-6 months down the road. But what about yourself, Kyo?
I wish I would, because I could have easily a copy of DMC5 Special Edition upon getting a next-gen console. But the thing is, even if I wanted to have one, I just can't, because the availability in France is plain ridiculous.
I'm sure. I know I know Cosmic said he was able to get one, but I've seen so many tweets. It seems like 1 out of every 5 people who tried to pre-order one is getting one.
Yeah, it's really tough to have a PS4.
PS5, and it's funny because that's the only thing I've seen people talking about pre-ordering. I haven't seen anyone talking about trying to pre-order an Xbox. By the way, I saw that tech actually that you were talking about, like canceling a Beowulf Starfall into the instant air judgment cut, and man, that's crazy.
Yeah, and it's pretty great that we can do this and in delay and stuff. And I wish to, if I am able to reproduce it, because this is another stupidly tough kind of glitch that is made possible because they rebuffed the timings of judgment cuts with, the system in which you can do 3 judgment cuts.
Mm-hmm.
But you can actually use the system to reproduce a glitch in DMC4, but maybe it won't sound appealing because of the new players be like, well, okay, why should I bother? But, well, in DMC4, when you have an out glitch, it becomes stylish by default because it's tough.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hell, you can say the same thing about combos in fighting games.
So right now, what I'm trying to do is 2 judgment cuts, but I really suck with it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
right
cool.
Now, I just did it, and this is made possible again because you can do more than 2, but really you're asking too much if you expect me to do more.
Yeah, 2 looks hard enough, man.
Oh well, I just did it the switch with Beowulf again. Nice. So let's try a bet. Oh, what? No. Well, whatever.
Actually, Mary J in the chat is asking which console, if we had the choice between PS5 and Xbox Series X, which one would be? Oh, Keo right away. So for me, Mary J, I've always been more of an Xbox guy. So I have the Xbox One. I do not own a PS4. So I guess if I was gonna get one, I'm actually open to either, but it would depend on the games. It really depends.
In my opinion, it's just that I don't like Xbox franchises as well. So really, it's just a matter of preference. But
yep.
I'm more. I prefer PS5 because that's pretty much it. Even if I'm less of a PlayStation exclusive thing. I mentioned, going back into the topic. So this is made possible again because they actually added timings to Judgment Cut itself, so you can do it again. So,
yes.
It's actually more of oh look, I handle my combo design so well that I can be this slow and stylish while I'm at it.
It's definitely made it a lot more, Mary J, my pleasure. It's definitely a lot more flexible. Now, one question I actually have for you and for chat, because I haven't seen it, is can you do Judgment Cut in the air for Vergil? Because that I have not seen.
In 5?
Yes, in 5, yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, really? Okay. Because I know in the modded Vergil you can do it. So I assume that you'll be able to do it in the air, and it'll do the same thing. You'll have the ability to do up to 3.
Yeah, exactly. Except if you're in Doppelganger. In Doppelganger, it's nerfed to 1. You can do consecutive ones.
I thought that was only when in training mode it was like a glitch if you have unlimited DT and you run out of DT bar, the game won't actually, like, even though you still have the Doppelganger out, like it won't let you do the consecutive judgment cuts. But in theory, it said that it can.
Yeah, you can do consecutive in 5, but the thing is, only when Doppelganger is not active.
Is not out? Oh, okay, so that is actually a limitation.
Yeah, because you will be able to do 6 judgment cuts at once, and that will be insanely broken.
Yeah, that would be pretty nuts, man. God damn.
So where I was getting at, so I showed most of the glitches, but I mean they're pretty fair. It was a pretty fair amount of how to design a combo in DMC4. And the thing is, back to end dashing, because I feel like it was an important thing. You could also cancel it out of judgment cuts provided you are fast enough.
Yeah, and I think the point that one of the things you're trying to make is that, you know, it seems like a lot of these glitches, you know, Capcom paid attention to what was essentially happening, and they've made it so that it's possible to replicate them. They've essentially normalized these glitches and made it so that base Vergil can just do them. You don't need to exploit a glitch in order to do that. It's actually built into his moveset by default.
I wouldn't say by default, because this is certainly not something that would be explained. But no, it was Kumabe-san, so the combat designer of Vergil. I think he's the one who said that the timing was implemented into Beowulf. So in my opinion, this just means that they just did it that way, and it's, you know, claiming that it watched DMC3 and DMC4 combat videos. It means that it's now a thing that they watch Vergil footage. So there's likeliness, it depends who they watched, but they could have stumbled upon this very niche glitch that they needed documentation, in my opinion. So they really, in my opinion, they really focused about plays of specific players, and they tried to make it a thing. And in my opinion, this is not tough. But when you consider Capcom's policy about Vanilla 5, which was a no inertia and no reversal, because you needed your own control of what you do, and now they would not only acknowledge this glitch, which was certainly not intended, and as such you couldn't do it 100% on 4, but they also validated it to the point they would port it over to 5.
I know. No, you raise a really good point, though. It's like you have stuff that wasn't necessarily super nuanced. It was just part of DMC4. It was like the inertia and reversals have been in since DMC3, and those didn't make it over. But yet you have these really nuanced Vergil glitches that have somehow made it, when inertia and reversals didn't. And then those are more of like core gameplay mechanics in comparison to these nuanced glitches, which are only there for Vergil.
Yeah.
So very curious.
It's very curious. So in my opinion, they really maybe. Well, I mean, there could be a lot of ways, but for some reason they choose to do something they didn't the time around. Like, okay, they did a big step toward players by inviting combo players to their streams and stuff like that. I was invited to the pre-launch stream of Devil May Cry 5, so that was already that was already a retcon of the world. And yet this happened with inertia and reversal. So there was a kind of, I wouldn't say double language, because this wouldn't be fair at all.
Yeah,
but,
it's definitely.
But
go ahead.
But they did. There's now people. It's saying outrightly that they watched combo mats, combo videos specifically, of course. But they explicitly said this, and this is outright surprising. And to me, I think they wanted to make a step forward toward players. I don't know if this is a redeeming feature or something, but you can also see when you see Vergil clips. Maybe this is wiser to put some turbo Vergil clips if you have any to the streams right now.
Oh, I don't have any handy. Oh, you mean like DMC5 stuff? I could put up DMC5 stuff.
5, yeah,
okay.
Obviously.
Yeah, here, I'll just put up just put up a compilation of the one that I had before. It'll just kind of run in the background while we're talking.
Well, mostly airborne stuff, but probably not, because this is the Void, but you can feel that the weight isn't the same. Vergil is a bit more heavy than Dante was. There was this floaty thing that you could feel in 5. And like you could see at a basic combo, it doesn't exactly feel the same. Or maybe this is just me. And Vergil is also a bit quicker from his transition from his air animation to the ground. And this was something that DMC4 players regretted.
Yeah, in DMC4, he feels lightning fast. And it almost seems janky in a way with how kind of like the way his animations are. Like they're not smooth, if that makes sense. Like they almost look like they're artificially sped up in a way.
Yeah, well, it's better, but there was ground cancelling, for example. And this wasn't a thing in vanilla DMC5, but the overweight who was switched from air to ground feels like they're also, I wouldn't say tweak, because let's not be fooled by turbo mode also being a thing. But some properties are back. And well, actually I see with Beowulf, and this reminds me of something I wanted to show anyway.
Oh yeah, here.
And this was actually Luna Force properties in 5, which actually surprised me for some reason. So, well, let me boot up 4 again. Let's go back to it.
Yeah, please.
Sorry. Okay, so for example, usually in DMC5, there's, when you're close to an enemy, there's this kind of hidden wall. So let's say I'm doing this, but the character will sort of stop in DMC5 and try to aim the enemy. A kind of hidden wall that prevents crossovers. But, and I'm going to show an example here. Like, let's say I do Lunar Phase. You see, I crossed over.
Ah, that's what you meant by the Lunar Phase crossover.
Yeah, exactly. And when you see some Lunar Phase example, maybe not from the official stream, but you could see similar things happening. Maybe not as smooth, but Lunar Phase definitely could travel all over the enemy. And that was pretty much interesting, because you couldn't do that with Dante, and I mean, you need to try real hard to be able to even hope to get one. And now suddenly you can do it again. And such subtle crossovers are, of course, not of interest for casual players, and of course you have a right to not to care. But it added some.
But for the people who are paying attention, yes,
sense of design, it really has an extra touch.
Interesting question from Mubin is that do we think that they oversped or they sped up some of the animations? I don't think so. I think if anything, the main theme in in DMC5, even in turbo mode, is that a lot of the animations were slowed down, especially like things like jump cancel and things like that.
Well, it depends. Does it mean 5 vanilla, so in PS4 1, or does it mean 5 special edition?
I think even so, I'm pretty sure it's fair to say that DMC5 running on turbo mode, I think, still feels like a slightly slower game than 4 on turbo mode.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. But since we were talking about animation, it feels like maybe at least Vergil, because there wasn't much of Dante or Nero footage because Legendary Dark Knight and stuff like that. But it feels like. It was, even for turbo, it feels a bit sped up, and even the gravity, it feels a bit less floaty. So this is just me trying to remember from my head, but it feels a bit less floaty. Of course, it's DMC5, and they can't change it like that, and they probably don't mean to. They probably try to, okay, maybe we did a bit too much, and combo players, for what our opinion is worth, feels they are a bit limited by a couple of values, so let's try to tweak them a bit. But this is probably the most they are going to do. They're not going to put reversal on inertia back, especially inertia, because there's a lot of stuff that goes with inertia that made it so valuable in 4 but wouldn't work as well in 5.
I think it's a different engine. Like DMC4 was very much a different game. And I don't even think inertia was something that was intended. It was kind of like this strange kind of byproduct of the way they tweaked the engine between DMC3 and 4. And that's why in many ways DMC4 is like the happy accident. But yeah, reversals, I think a lot of people would love to see them come back.
Actually, inertia is present in 5's engine.
A little bit, right?
Yeah, but it was modders could use it to bring it back more properly. So this was something Capcom intentionally limited. Sorry, I forgot.
So I know that modders kind of brought back inertia, but I thought so. But basically, what they're doing is they're finding those little tidbits that are in DMC5's base engine, and they're just tweaking them. I thought they actually were modifying something in order to bring back inertia.
No, the concept of inertia is actually present, but they used, well, it's all about value tweaking to try to bring it back. And about reversal, because just GR said they brought back reversal, yes and no. They brought back reversal in demo and also the last debug build before the actual 1.0 version of the game.
Yes.
So when I went to Capcom UK, there were still reversal. So Dante was able to perform a reverse air trick, for example. But
yes, but I don't think it was been brought back. Yeah, so it was in the dev version of the game, and there was a question earlier about like what happened to reversals. Basically, what happened is that some QA analysts found it, and they're like, "Oh, this isn't intentional," and then they took it out because they were worried players would do it by accident, which is complete BS. It's definitely a blunder on Capcom's part.
Yes and no. I mean, I'm going to be playing the devil's advocate, and in theory, you're right. But that supposes the casual player have as much control over what they do as we do.
True.
And casual players have a tendency to panic when they're not used to something. So
they may do it by accident.
You don't want a death for something you didn't intend to do, and this is probably the mindset that Capcom had. So, I believe removing them was wrong, same as inertia. I mean, this is a decision I disagree with, and this is no news. But if you take it from a consumer standpoint, I believe it's actually a nice decision because you want to give a player full control.
Yes.
There was this time in DMC4 because you could jump away and do an initial, just moving the sword, and you're like, why am I going this much away? I'm not hitting the enemy, bring him back. So it makes sense. I certainly don't endorse it, but it makes sense, and you can't blame them, especially when 5 is the first mainline games for like 11 years.
That's true. So I respect that. But to your point, if it was a feature that they identified and pulled out, what they should have done is like, okay, if this was a feature, I don't think they understood exactly what it was. I don't think they knew it was as big of a feature, especially to more advanced technical players. What they should have done is given you the option to turn it on or off. Just enable reversals in the options menu, right? But I mean, thankfully on PC Master Race, we have mods that can do that. The bufferless reversals. Oh my god! Shoutouts to CN and the modders.
But the thing is, and I'm going to cut DMC4 because I want to boot up DMC5 for a couple of things I want to show. Actually.
Yes, please, let's do that.
Let me put it up. And in the meantime, I wanted to answer to just GR because he said something. Capcom probably never brought back inertia because, well, basically the 1% of a players thing. Yes and no again. Why? Because they reached out to us, actually. They did reach out to us by inviting us to events, asking us feedback. And the fact that now Itsuno said he watched DMC3 and 4 combos means awareness and will to understand what's going on. So wait, I'm just putting DMC5. So I mean 1% for sure, but apparently this 1% by keeping playing the games managed to shape Vergil in its higher state.
Which is, that's great. I mentioned this in our chat earlier today before we went live, is that it's amazing when you actually have devs that are paying attention to what what the most dedicated fan base, like the fan base, like you said, that 1% that continues to push, and all that jazz, which is good because I respect that when fighting game developers do that. They reach out to like the top players of their game and have them come in and do testing and they ask for feedback. And so yeah, Capcom, if they made some mistakes with vanilla, it definitely is apparent that they've made some amazing efforts to really make back some of that headway and correct some of their mistakes, or do it better. Do it better.
At least I would say make up for it.
Yes, that's very fair to say. And that's why, like, I've Capcom got some flack. I've definitely been throwing them some flack over the way they handled DMC5. But with what they've done with Vergil, I mean, it is. I don't think anyone can argue that they have done anything less but go above and beyond with Vergil.
That's something I would like to answer too, actually, because considering this is an hot topic. So maybe when Ahmed said, when the mod devs listen to what people want and implement them, sometimes I feel like we are doing more work than the actual Capcom guy. Yes, more no than yes, actually, this time around. And the reason is, Capcom devs are not the people with a decisional power, and this is very important for people to understand.
Yep.
Because people lash out at Capcom devs as if they were responsible for pretty much everything. When you look at Itsuno, San, and Matt Walker talking, at least that's my impression. But I feel like even them feel held back compared to what they would like to do. Co-op, cameo system is just some co-op they wanted to do, but they couldn't complete.
Yeah.
And some of the political decisions, so one I said inertia and reversal, so maybe Capcom didn't intend it at first, but this is certainly an executive decision to say we need to have people buy the game. So how do we do that in pure gameplay experience?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to have people, not experienced people, just come around and do something you're not supposed to do, they're not going to tell their friend, okay, you can buy this game, man. So it's not fair to say Capcom dev.
Well, it's true. Okay, well, I mean, I think you definitely have to just differentiate. I think if you are going to throw any flack at Capcom, you have to you're right. You have to acknowledge the efforts of the dev team with what they had, with what they were given, the resources, the time constraints, right? What they had to work with. They've done an amazing job, right? And then it's some of the, like you said, some of the political decisions, some of the overarching strategic decisions that the dev team didn't have the capability to make, right? Stuff like that. The Capcom higher-ups. Yeah. People have been saying the Capcom higher-ups don't have a clue for years, and in many ways it's true.
Yeah, that's why it's important to be fair, people. And I'm pretty sure, what was expected because of the console limitation.
Yeah.
But Vergil was pretty much the same thing, and they said it like before release. It's not about us; it's about Capcom executives. So executive give the devs and Matt Walker the money and
time.
The dev choose what to make out of it.
Yeah, they basically, it's like, how can we squeeze in the most, they're given requirements. Like, I think for example, I think if they were given the option of like making a game and they had like all the time in the world, I think they would probably do something like, Nero, Dante, Vergil, and then possibly maybe like one of the ladies or Trish or something. I think V was because there was a requirement for them to have a really easy character in there, and so they're like, we need something that's very easy, someone that hits very hard for new players.
So back to the mod dev point, it's like it's not necessarily fair to say mod devs listen more. First of all, mod devs do that on their free time. They are not paid to do something. There's not a boss asking them to do something or not to do something. They do it because they want to try it out. So it's not like, why Capcom won't listen? Maybe, but they also have marketing people around that need to judge the feasibility or something.
Yeah, it's very much a situation where it's like, the devs can only work with what they've been given, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, it's important to stay fair and not lash out. Not accordingly. If you want to complain, then you need to complain to specific people.
Or you need to, you can't, it's kind of unfair to generalize, being like, oh, Capcom this, Capcom that. Well, it's like, well, no, I mean, there are decision makers within Capcom, there are developers that don't have that decision making power, and they just have to make the best of what they've been given or what they have. So, absolutely.
Exactly, and now you're going to tell me, they had the opportunity to make Vergil, and they could have just
carbon copy,
more or less minimal, but they did research, watching combo videos, making sure people could feel having a mix of the best work, making sure that Vergil was exactly what people asked, and they succeed.
Mm-hmm.
They just succeed. I mean, they could have done less efficiently, but you can't deny the amount of research work they did just for Vergil.
Absolutely. No. Absolutely. And I mean, there's a great point, in chat, is that we wouldn't be here. Like, would you rather have DMC5 or no DMC5? Right? That's really what it comes down to, right? And I don't know. None of these games are perfect, but they're all awesome. DMC4 is awesome in its own way. DMC5 is awesome in its own way. I love playing DMC5, man. It is fun.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to go into the topic of elitists and stuff because we love the game as much as any other one. And since I'm on DMC5, I'm going to do what I was actually coming to DC for DMC5 for.
Yeah.
It's that even in the event that some glitches are not going to be able to be reproduced, I was thinking first, I was telling you about it even before I noticed that glitches could be back. It was actually the usage of weapon switch glitch.
Yes.
That could be ported over to Vergil. So Vergil is, much like Dante, a character that uses different weapons and models. And for those who don't know, Dante has sort of a glitch that allows you to sort of swap the weapon by inputting another one. Let me get it.
Yeah, I forget how to do this, even though I made a video about it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And the thing is, so what if it could be ported over to Vergil? So for example, imagine you're going to do million stab, you switch over to Yamato, and then because you're Yamato, the game treats the weapon as Yamato. So this could mean you could have additional timings and thus potential judgment cuts out of different move that you would not expect you to do. And even of the way around, let's say, for example, you are on Yamato, you do something, and then you do exactly the same on Mirage Edge. It's hard not to say Force Edge, go ahead. And you could have more round-trip timing this way, so it would be interesting to see. And for people to have a clearer idea of what I meant, I'm going to put the camera closer.
Yeah, if you can show with like prop shredder or something, just for those who haven't seen this tech. I made a video about this.
Better than that, actually. Wait.
Oh.
So right now we are on Kerberos.
Yes. Yeah. You see the sword? You see how he's essentially switched the animation for the staff combo to basically how that works is he starts putting in a combo with one weapon, and at a very specific point in time, he changes over to the other weapon, but the game doesn't recognize. Exactly. So the game recognizes that he switched to another weapon, but it still continues and carries forward the animation of the previous weapon. And so that's how you're able...
And right now, so for example, you can see Dante just using Rebellion's hilt to smash the enemy's nuts.
So there's some really cool tech that you can do. You can essentially be doing a Cerberus combo or be doing a combo with one weapon, and you can actually switch over to like Beowulf. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, he's actually in Cerberus and he's charging, even though he's still doing a Devil Sword Dante move, but he's on Cerberus and he's charging Cerberus. So that's what we mean when we say the weapon switch glitch. It's very, very cool tech. And so, yeah, to Keo's point, it'll be really interesting to see how Vergil can take advantage of this glitch with his different charge moves. Man, you're actually really good at this.
Yeah, well, I guess I trained a bit because I actually dig to see what I could do with it. And I came across a weird clip. So wait.
Deep fried.
Oh, wait.
Oh, the game for me, the stream of the game just froze. Hold on.
Oh.
I'm just exiting full screen. Hopefully that will... Yeah, there's a delay. The stream you're viewing currently has reduced video or audio quality. Oh, there we go. We think it's coming back.
Yeah, we are doing a lot of stuff at the same time.
Oh yeah, we're on a Discord call. You're streaming your screen. I'm like streaming both. You're also streaming your webcam.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's doing some funky stuff on stream right now, and I think it's just because of all the
stuff.
There's a lot of there's a lot of bandwidth issues.
Yeah, about the camera, that's not something I could do. Sorry.
No. I mean, it is what it is. We're working with the limitations that we have, right? So
yeah, and not every move works with each other.
Yes. From what I remember, it really wasn't possible to get it with the bike. So to actually like switch over and have Cavalier, I was thinking like Cavalier would be able to do something a little crazy, but it's kind of hard.
Yes, yeah, but it's a more visual than anything. Oh yeah, sorry.
Like if you could swing around the bike, for example.
Not quite.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Sorry.
Oh yes, yeah, this combo.
No, it's just No, it's just that sometimes you can see the bike. Actually, the bike pops somewhere.
Yeah, it like pops on. It like pops. Yeah, you can kind of see the bike as in the swinging sword of Pop Shredder. Like you can kind of see some of the red color. Yeah, but it doesn't. There. When I was initially investigating this glitch and like trying out like the different iterations of it, we got the guy that I was working with, because this tech was originally found by a Japanese player, and then him and I started coordinating on Twitter, and then I was like, okay, I want to make this a full video. He was able to do something in the air, like able to do this switch glitch in the air.
I tried to do it.
So did I. I couldn't recreate it.
Same.
So it doesn't really work with Cavalier, but like every other weapon it does, and it's really cool.
And the funny thing is, yeah, I recreated it with also pole dance.
Yeah, there you go. That's cool. So yeah. So while
and the one I had in mind. Sorry. Yeah. Oh no. Yet.
That's cool.
Yeah, I needed to switch like 4 times, but since it's slow, you know.
That's awesome.
And yeah, actually my point was just made because I held the style button, so it charged the round trace for Dante.
Yeah.
And so under the same logic, I mean, Vergil could be able to do some summoned swords out of it.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be really interesting. He'll definitely be able to get some cheeky judgment cut timings. Yeah, it'll be really cool to see, man.
So yeah, and back to my. Sorry, I just don't have a move anymore. But let's say you see, there's a bit of an hidden wall. Like Dante doesn't do the step. Like, see, he should be doing a step for height.
Oh,
he doesn't do it.
Yes, it's almost like there's an invisible wall that prevents you from crossing under.
And this was exactly my point, and this seems to have a bit disappeared with Luna phase, with Vergil from what we saw. So that's interesting. It's like, yeah, I've actually listened. It works with non-launcher moves. So like when I do quick drive layer,
That's cool.
That's good. But I can jump console on it. But with runner files you can. And that's what makes it so beautiful. So yeah, just for the sake of it, I'm just... Oh yeah, that's another solution with Care Bearers, but I'm... Oh yeah, wait. I need to...
Oh, yes. Okay, I remember.
Yeah, it's a bit tough. Oh, crap. Because I do attack instead. And... Okay, let me just switch the layout. The weapon layout, because this is... I need to do a triple switch on such a small frame. I mean, I can do it, but it's not consistent.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So actually, while you're doing that, the chat is kind of talking about some of the amazing work that some of the modders have done, and absolutely, the one thing that I'm hopeful for, because a lot of the mods right now have probably been out in their final versions for upwards of 6 months, sometimes even longer. Like some of them were made back in March. So all I'm hoping for is that when Vergil is actually patched in, the patch that adds him to the game, I'm hoping that doesn't break all the mods that currently exist, and if it does, because they tweak some other changes or system changes, it's usually... So I'm hoping that all the modders will come back and essentially make their mods work on the newest version of the game once Vergil's out.
Yeah, they're probably really going to be up for it, because anyway, there's going to be PC players, and now we know that matters. It's all the more of a reason to keep pressing,
Absolutely.
And that's it. Might be... I mean, I haven't talked to anyone since it's happened, because I went a bit more silent, but I'm pretty sure that knowing now what we did so far has a purpose. Modders could be twice as motivated. I'm not talking for them, but this means they could actually listen to us, and this could be leading to nicer things. Oh wait, just trying.
Yeah, it's a good point, Mubin. Like, hey, oh my God, that's cool. I've never seen that. That is really cool.
That's my personal touch.
That's amazing, man. Actually, could you could probably charge style. Yeah, you could do style moves while you're doing that. That's really cool.
Yeah, but you need to
that's the weapons
go quickly back to melee.
That's awesome, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, what?
I'm gonna have to try and recreate that.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, I mean, it bears no little technical, but it's nice. Like just the fact that you can just
like that. Yep. Yeah, and you can sit there and you can finish the combo and you can charge like
you go with it and you just crush his balls. It's just so nice.
I know, with the sword. Well, one thing that I really like is how you can use Prop Shredder to actually charge up the what is it? The Balrog charge. Yeah. So if you switch over to Balrog, you can actually get a full Balrog charge.
Yeah, but I use the infinite Balrog.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Stuff. So let me just disable it just for the sake of it. Yeah, because ignition, it's like the mechanic is well thought, but it's not practical, which is kind of a lot. A big. It's pretty much like DMC5 as a whole. You have so much nice stuff that's not
like hidden.
So practical.
Yeah, it's like Rising Sun being hidden behind Kick 13.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Sorry.
Oh, you almost got it.
Ah. Sorry. No. Oh, yeah. I should stay on.
No, you need to be in kick mode for it to work.
Oh, no. I just remember what I needed to input. Sorry. Oh, sorry.
Because I think all you have to do from there is you just hold down and attack. But you have to do it in kick mode. Kick mode is the ignition when you hold down attack button. It doesn't work in punch mode.
No, it's not what I'm looking for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So basically how that's working, chat, is he's on prop shredder, and so he's mashing the melee attack in order to do more hits of prop shredder, but because he's switched over into Balrog, it actually treats the prop shredder hits as the jabs, and so you do like, you know, your 10 hits or whatever, and it activates Balrog's ignition, which is a really, really cool application of this glitch, and that's how actually it was originally found.
Yeah. And the thing is, for it to work actually as well, as good as you think, you need to actually disable some move because the input needs to not to exist.
Yeah, drive, right? If I remember correctly. Yeah, you need to use a move. Yeah, I remember that.
For me, it's more I just removed Swordmaster level 4.
Oh yes, that's one way to do it. Swordmaster level 4, or depending on what weapon you're using, you can disable, like for drive, for example, it works with Dante. That's right. Man, it's so long ago, I don't even remember how, even though I did a video about it, I don't remember how this tech works exactly. Smoking sexy style, hell yeah. Oh, actually, I just realized the music died.
There's actually Tervlord asking a question because he asked about the Steam database stuff because there's actually 7 items.
Oh, crap.
Or 6 items as a DLC for DMC5 coming up. So based on what we know, we can actually deduce what it is. So you have the DLC Vergil, but you also have likely the OST, like as a separate downloadable content, not into the game, the music pack, an announcer, because we could see that this song were also in the game, like the Vergil select, the specific Vergil OST. I made a tweet about it. It was a bit of time ago.
Yeah, we're getting a lot more than just Vergil, for sure. Like, there's going to be some enhancements to the game that come regardless. Like you said, like the new... the new OST and stuff like that. The new announcer.
Yeah, there's also going to be Super Vergil as a direct unlockable extant because it also exists.
Yep.
Red already exists, and I think the last one might be, but I don't think so because it wasn't showcased anyway. So I don't know, because I thought there could be an alternative version of a weapon, like, you know, Cavalier Air.
Oh, that would be neat.
I mean, this one thing I couldn't really see, so why not? But if it's not, I mean, I'm not exactly sure about what it could be.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say. We're just kind of speculating at this point. It would be nice to see if they made like an actual a palette swap for Balrog to Beowulf for Dante. That would be cool.
Oh yeah, that would be nice, but let's say I'm not really too hopeful about it.
Yeah, I know. I'm not too confident about that either. The only way to tell will be to just kind of play it by ear. Mubian saying, yeah, when you see it in 4K, I think that's true for most things. You see it in 60 frames per second at 4K, especially when you see Legendary Dark Knight mode with that, and you see all the enemies. You see like 30 enemies on screen.
Yeah, see?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember that. I remember seeing that weird glitch. Yeah, the bike is there, but it's not there. It's just floating in space. I remember that. That's so funny.
Mirage Edge just reminded me of a very bad memory. I just imagine when Kyo plays DMC5, you reason may cry, but that was because I had my save file on Steam deleted like 5 times.
Oh, shit.
And each time I actually had to beat again. So what I did, I beat Urizen on Prologue without a Devil Breaker, so home in Nero as you play it right at the start.
Yeah.
And then I had to, then I bet it on Solo Spotter 2, so without Devil Trigger or Devil Breaker, because you didn't actually unlock it, nor Devil Breakers. And then there was one time I bet it on Dante Must Die 2.
That's
And
crazy.
I
That
did
must have taken a while.
a couple of times because Steam just deleted my saves, and I hope I don't have to do it again.
Hey, I mean, it will be interesting if Special Edition ever does get ported over. If Special Edition does get ported over to PC, you might have to do it again, depending on how they release it. Because I don't know if it would be a patch or a brand new game. Or
probably DLC at this point. I mean,
yeah, that makes sense. Because it'd just be Legendary Dark Knight and then like a couple other things like Turbo, Official, Turbo,
But
things like
because,
that.
Because unlike DMC4 Special Edition, in DMC4 Special Edition, they re-upped the texture, they added motion blur and stuff. So they couldn't exactly say, we just give DLC to the original 4.
Oh, plus...
Also because Steam wasn't what it is now, so it was also Windows Store back then. It's a bit complicated. But right now, what it is, I just added ray tracing, Legendary Dark Knight Turbo mode. So this could be
easily DLC.
Yeah, maybe not retracing, just retracing as an update. But this could be absolutely DLC. So no, they wouldn't release a special edition on Steam. What did I want to go over? Because I mean, we did some overview of DMC4 Vergil text.
Yep.
I did some one-trick glitches but these worked on the same principle as Judgment Cut ones, more or less. I wanted to show indeed the weapon switch glitch that could work on Vergil. But if the glitch thing is indeed true, there might not be a need to, because it's actually implemented into the game.
Yeah. I mean, at best, it might just be like some animation changes. Like, you know, the animation changes if you're, let's say, on Beowulf and you switch over to like another weapon, all of a sudden, you know, you're doing a Beowulf combo with like one of the swords. But it'll be interesting to see how it actually looks like, or what it looks like.
Yeah. Just going to put some cutscenes.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's better than... wait a minute. Gallery. I'm going to put the X color Vergil just for you.
Oh, beauty. Yeah, I'm now that I'm back on the PC version, I need to unlock that X color again.
I think you need to beat Heaven or Hell.
Yeah, I think you're right. I can't remember. I need to look it up. I know it's not one of the ones you have to buy. I think Nero and the girls, like Nico, Lady, and what is it? Nico, Lady, Trish. And Trish. Yeah, those ones I think you have to buy. Dante, I think you have to buy as well. But I think Vergil you can actually unlock.
Yeah, Vergil is unlockable, as well as V. Yeah, but the other ones were pre-order costumes.
Yes, they were pre-order. Yes. But because I just recently bought like the PC copy, I have to can't get this. Yeah, it'll be interesting because I think Vergil's campaign actually looks like they extend this this screen or this what do you call it? This cinematic a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah. So one of the things I thought would be cool to do is, you know, because we more or less kind of covered all the bases. We talked about Vergil. I'd love to go back actually and just kind of work my way back through the chat, and just take like an extra 5 minutes just to work my way back to the chat. I can't see all of chat. It only goes back so far because I'm only using it on Twitch here. Yeah, just to see if there's any, you know, questions or anything like that, or shout outs that we may have missed.
Well, in the meantime, if people know how positive I am, but I would really like to highlight not only the work but the choice that led to the work made on Vergil. It's incredible how they did well on every choice. Like, it's nearly a Santa Claus list to me. There's even some things they did for balancing, and this is very important. So, for example, drive and Kick 13 are no longer on trick, which means you can't no longer spam them as you used to in DMC4 and look like you spam and you're skilled and that's it. Yeah, these are now on caliber type inputs, so that's good for balancing, and I'm really happy they did this. That and the fact that even as a fan, because I talk a lot about combo making, but as a fan, I like the fact that they put V. Oh yeah, there's also one thing. Is it really worth going over? But I noticed that on V, when you activate ward of V, so Vergil's model stays as a spectral corpse on the ground, and I noticed that if you, and I asked Matt Walker, no, Edward, sorry, about this. He said that if you activate, let's say, blistering swords on Vergil, you hold them and you activate visions of V. So V gets his own hot model, but the swords stay on Vergil the whole time. So there's actually two different locations. They don't follow V, they stay on the Vergil model.
That's actually really interesting. Yeah, actually, I didn't know that. So essentially you activate this move, World of V. V comes out and he does like his powerhouse move. But while you're doing that, you still have control over summoned swords. So Vergil could be a corpse on the ground shooting out summoned swords?
Probably only if you have them activated beforehand.
Oh, I see.
So this means,
that
let's
makes sense.
say you want to make sure everything works, and you prepare heavy rain swords, you hold them, you activate Vision of V, and as V gets out and some of the stuff, you could potentially release the rain, and everything is freeze, and you can basically free pound everything.
That's cool, man. That jacket is cursed. Why is it cursed? I mean,
because I actually put a cyberpunk mode jacket.
Oh, yeah.
And this is not cursed. This is cool.
No, I think, well, the game is cursed. Well, not really. I mean, they've had to push it back, but you know what? Though Project Red, they always do amazing work. So who cares? I mean, the game gets delayed. You have to wait a little bit longer for what's going to be like an amazing and like perfect game. Like,
yeah, I guess I will wait.
You can wait.
Maybe next summer, because I will be so much into Vergil. I won't have.
We're not gonna have time, so it's a blessing. It's a blessing in disguise, man. Like, oh, dude, I'm so spoiled. This entire Q4. I'm spoiled by DLC. We just got Doom Eternal DLC, which I've barely even scratched the surface. I played it through once, so I have so much more work to do. I have 3 new characters coming in Mortal Kombat 11, and then I have Vergil next month. And it's just like, with what time am I gonna play all this stuff? Like, I'm gonna have content for the next 6 months, easy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably going to make a DMC5 Vergil guide in December if someone didn't do it until then. I have combo video projects, and I mean so because I have Imperium 2, which is for the recall a story-driven combo mat, which it's a bit of a particular concept, but you loved it apparently, so I'm glad you did. And another collab with 3 other very talented players, so it's quite a unique collab, and well, we haven't announced it out. I was supposed to keep quiet, but I mean, it's just to say that I have a fucking lot to do with Vergil, and to me, is as complete as you could hope for. I'm glad they kept 4. They didn't try to go too original and have a half-assed attempt at it, or just go into something original but have something not as functional like Balrog. I was really afraid that Vergil would have something like Balrog and Cat Beowulf all the same, and this was really a big relief.
Yep. I cannot agree more, man. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, man, my hype level for, the original showing of Vergil was to what they've now shown us now, and with his entire kit basically out for everyone to see, man, like words cannot express how hype I am for this character.
I already saw many ideas, and I don't necessarily include Doppelganger. I showed you some, and I showed you. No, I told you the one I thought about AZT exploding, but you can also stay in taunt and have Doppelganger act for you, so you can create the distance in an opposite way. You have delaying stuff. You can. I mean, there's so much stuff. Even if you don't put Doppelganger, there's so much stuff. Vergil will play the same yet not the same, and it's going to be so interesting. Like, I know people, it's not over hyping it to say it, and I mean, I played Vergil for literally thousands of hours. I'm positive this is something that can't be surpassed in terms of Vergil alone. And
yeah.
I mean,
you especially if you love the character, and Capcom gives you, it's almost like a gold mine. It's a literal gold mine for you to work, to mine and play around, investigate, experiment, lab, and it looks like they've done such a good job. So yeah, I'm excited.
And I'm so happy they did it this way, because every delusional person about Vergil, everyone hated back and was like, oh, not only they did a decent job, but this might be potentially the best 5 character. And I love
shaping
how
up to
Vergil shot some trap. Well, just a bit of a harsh way of putting it, because I don't mean it that harsh way, but I'm glad. And now we know that some Capcom people watch us. I mean, it's all the more reason to keep creating, to keep experimenting, to keep doing what we love, because it led to this, and it feels, maybe over Vergil's fans, I know a couple of Vergil players, and I hope they will share the same impression that I do, is that Vergil feels self-tailored. I'll tell it for myself. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but at least it feels tailored to me.
He feels like
as a Vergil player.
Yes.
It resonates. And I'm pretty sure other Vergil players will feel the same. I mean, I can talk. I haven't played it because there's a beta that you need to play. But I can't say how you could find this Vergil any bad, or at least anything less than superior to his DMC3 and DMC4 incarnation.
I think that's very fair. And agree. Like, I know I didn't play a lot of DMC4, but I played a lot of DMC3 Vergil. I absolutely love this character. And like I said at the beginning, we were talking about how like Vergil kind of helped us get better and unlock and enhance our experience and our knowledge of the game. It's like we got better at the game and like playing Dante and like playing the game by playing Vergil. Vergil kind of unlocked, it expanded the threshold. It raised the bar. So, and I'm excited to see that for this version of the game as well. And
in December.
Yep.
In December.
Oh yeah.
What I'm going to be I would say afraid, because in terms of content is, well, I mean, maybe so much people will hear this, but what I'm going to be actually afraid is the first people claiming to do Vergil combat, because Vergil is this character that's easy to handle but difficult to master.
Yep, that's fair.
What people will do again, as much as they did in early DMC4, is spam trick.
Oh yeah.
Once and there, just look like they're fast, but isn't any technically complex or fleshed out, or I mean, there's no design in it, and they're just going to do slash, teleport back, rapid slash, teleport again. Oh my god, he's so fast. This is definitely going to happen. Clickbaiting combo videos, and what I would like to say to fellow combo players is to stay Oh man, I just love the word. But I was so much in
Like,
my
stay
momentum,
true. You know, stay the course. You know, don't sacrifice your integrity and just, you know, maintain.
Don't give up to easy stuff.
Yeah.
Just if you think you did something that you thought that's complex, and then if you go back again, you look at it the next day, and you're like, this is maybe not as complex as it would be, even input-wise or anything. Be harsh on yourself when creating combos, because this is how you improve, and just don't stop at spamming trick as if you were a Godspeed, because you're not going to fool much people. It's already happened in 4, and let's have it not happen in 5. I mean, you can stop people from doing what they want, and I mean, who am I to tell? But let's not be fooled by people trying to look like they're skilled, but they just spam a trick button.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a good message, and I think there are certain people who are at the top tier. I mean, if anything, that messaging should be for players like me, because I'm getting better at the technical and the more complicated stuff with DMC4, but with DMC5, but I still have a long way to go. So hopefully with Vergil, I'll be able to push the bar a little bit and really do some exciting stuff, man. Like, I can't wait. I have a month to train on the PC version of DMC5, so.
And I find it so incredible that for you, who has always been a DMC3 Vergil guy, that 5 managed to hype you so much that you go in 4 in preparation.
Absolutely. Oh man. Well, the thing is like, it's everything. Like we were talking about, you know, potentially sharing like a wish list for what we wanted out of Vergil, and then Capcom's like it doesn't even matter. It's all there. It's all there. They gave us everything. Like the one.
Now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, guys, if anything was going to be on my wish list, it's this. It is this. It is that S-taunt aerial rave. Like, I don't know. I don't care how they did it. Whether it's a taunt or a button or something. The fact that they did this, they know that this move was missing. Dante had this move in 4, Vergil didn't, and it was a fan favorite. I love this move. As soon as I saw this move for Vergil, I fell in love with it. I'm going to be spamming the shit out of this. Like, I'm going to like master this. Were they JCing? Yeah, this is JCing Mubin. Basically what he's doing is he's doing taunt, JC, taunt to do the actual aerial rave. And it looks fucking gorgeous. And like, so one of the things I really love in DMC3 is doing that move close to the ground. So you do like a really like low air jump and then you do it. Or you basically have an enemy that you've like knocked down and they're lying on the ground and you're basically just hovering over them, just like jump canceling on them. Like, I love doing that. It's very simple to do in DMC3, but there's something about it that I'm just like, you just feel like an absolute badass. And I can't wait to do it again.
You can even reproduce some DMC3 patterns, like, remember, like you can prepare your blistering sword, and now you can trick up again
properly. Yes.
Release the blistering sword, have Starfall to crossover, jump cancel it, and the trick up 2 is the goddamn way of mobility that I was missing. I was a combo maker, and really it's not even like they had to do this.
Yep.
But it's like this specific S-Town feels like, okay, we have to do this. What do we have left? No matter what the input is, we have to put it back. How do we do it? And they just did. They did it. We were like, okay, Vergil is really, really satisfying even without this. And when we saw that, it was like the ice of a cake. You're like, come on, man,
dude. Yeah, exactly. It was
awesome.
He was already like 100% awesome. You know, you're looking at it, it's like, dude, they brought back the 3 weapons. They did like new enhanced super moves, you know, the clone SDT. It all looked amazing. And then it's like this. And it's
sorry, I just catch you right there.
Please.
But there's a catataunt, a wall catataunt. We don't know what the X taunt is. We don't know what the Bloody Palace taunt is.
Yeah.
I mean, and the Bloody Palace taunt could be functional too.
Yeah, who knows what it'll be. It could be like, you know how like he used to have a way in DMC3 and I think maybe even in 4, but I'm not sure. It's like if he taunted with Yamato and just like stood still, he would just like refill his DT bar. It might be something like that.
Nah.
No? You don't think so?
But you could buffer frame judgment cut out of his taunts.
Yeah?
And I saw this happen too, but maybe on different timings. So wait, you could do where is your motivation and then and I saw Matthew Edwards do it on his stream, but the timing seemed different. So maybe he just inputted it differently. But either way, like I'd feel guilty to find bad points. It's to this point. I feel guilty.
It's hard to criticize.
To think about something bad.
Yep. It's hard to criticize. You really could. Like there's a few nitpicks, but it's very bad form to do so, considering what they've given us. And like you said, they didn't have to. They could have done it. They could have done bare minimum, which is what everyone was afraid of. So it's just like, cannot wait, man.
Even thinking about all of this is already porn in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that being said, let me just put on just kind of like this generic move list video while we're just kind of wrapping things up here. So yeah, guys, it has been an absolute awesome stream. I know there was a couple follows. There was probably about, I think, 3 to 5. I didn't catch exactly who it was. I know Mary J was one of them. That was one of the more recent ones. But thank you all. It really helps. I really appreciate the support, and it means a lot. So thank you very much.
Guys.
And guys, so Keo, first of all, where can everyone find you? I have your Twitter feed right there, but are you on Twitch or on YouTube?
All right, so Twitch, I do have a Twitch account, but I don't use it because I don't like Twitch actually. I'm using it just for charity live stream stuff, and that's it.
Okay.
You can find me on YouTube.
Yeah, feel free to drop that link in the chat, please.
I'm going to drop actually not only the link, but I'm going to drop what can be my Empyreum, which is my story-driven
Ethereum?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is, and you know, I look at it, and today I'm telling myself I will do so much better for Empyreum 2, and I feel like I'm not at. I look at some stuff, I'm like, oh come on, you could have done better, and this is almost why I'm going to do it again.
But that's how it goes.
This is going to be Empyreum, so this had a lot of good ideas. I hope you will like them. And on my channel, you can also find a couple of live streams, which are actually interviews with DMC crew. So my first episode of talking about the devil was with Brian Hanford, who is a V, and he gladly went. Where the patient zero of all of us. You can find the interview I led with Robin Longdon too on the last charity live stream with Mills and The River Never Cried. You can find also that on my channel. You can find the episode 2 of the podcast too with Gloria, so Daniel Vergil. And since it's not going to end, I'm preparing an episode 3 that will leave you speechless. And I'm just waiting for some confirmations, and this is going to be motivating, to say the least.
So exciting stuff to come, is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot to come. Whether it's on community, because views are meant for people to come and ask questions to these people, and be in a chill way, not necessarily, oh, this is a DMC interview. You get to know these people.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, guys, definitely subscribe to Keo. Watch that video that he posted. It's a 23-minute combo video featuring combos from DMC3, 4, and 5. It's amazing. It's really, really well done. And you can see just how artistic Keo is and how creative he is with his combos. So give this man a follow. Follow him on Twitter at Keo_DMC. All my links are below on the Twitch channel, so you can follow me on Twitter, follow me on YouTube as well, where these VODs are going to be going. Keo, for your own FYI, I've been recording the VOD, so I'll send it to you so that you can post it as well, so we can both post it as well. Of course, yeah, my pleasure. And guys, definitely follow Keo. He actually posts like combo clips on Twitter all the time. So anytime he's kind of working around with some new ideas or he's testing stuff out or just has some really cool clips to show, he posts them.
Stuff like
Tweets
that.
them,
I recently post
a really nice one.
Who are willing to dig up. I posted one Nero, one Dante combo in which I take on 2 enemies on one single combo.
That's cool.
Switching enemies back and forth and doing some nice stuff that can only happen with that. And well, I just hope you're going. Well, I hope you're going to enjoy your stay. And I don't bite that much, at least. And I mean, thank you, Broly, for bringing me in, because I mean, as I said to you like 2 or 3 times, you're going to feel like a Gramps by now. But I mean, I watched your tutorials while I was a teenager, last like 10 years ago, and it feels weird to have a similar version there. And it's actually like I came all this way. I mean, damn, Jesus, and it matters. So guys, please keep playing DMC5 or 4 or 3. It matters. Now we know that it matters now more than ever. So keep playing the game, keep finding combos, do what you like, because this is DMC's strength.
Is the community. 1000%. I could not agree more. Yes. So guys, thank you. And Keo, it's an absolute pleasure. Like, you know, yourself and a couple other people, I am humbled by the fact that, you know, you guys have shown me so much respect, you know, because of my tutorials and stuff back in the day. And in reality, it's funny because I was never really that good of a player, but I'm glad that I was able to teach you guys something. And that's always been something that I, you know, really enjoyed with like the whole tutorial series and everything. So the fact that you're willing to give up your time and actually talk with me means a lot as well.
Come on. Don't sweat it. Don't put it like that. It's not like I'm a prime minister or something. So
much love to you, much love to the community, man. And much love to everyone in chat. Thank you for chilling out with us. It's been
let's do this again.
An absolute blast. Yes, yeah. Well, we should meet up once Vergil's been out, and then we'll actually we'll have all our testing done. We'll have all the goods. It's gonna be great. Definitely encore stream. I think chat would be down for that. I'd say chat would be down for that. All right, guys.
Yeah.
With that, we will say adieu and good night. And
bye out, guys.
Absolutely, guys. Stay awesome. Have a great night.
Don't you dare say it, Jackpot!